You click on a head, he instantly kills someone. It's like, whoa!
How many games before that did that, you know?
Valve doesn't always have the best interest for the players.
It's just low-hanging fruit.
How much is it the game changing and how much is it me changing?
What's more important in the things you choose to do with your
Idle time. All right, everybody, welcome back to Idle Time, episode number 7. Long awaited. I am Casual TF2, co-hosting to support my brothers here, Zesty Jesus and Richter Overtime. How we doing?
Just fine, just fine. What about yourself, Casual?
I'm doing excellent. We were riff-raffing a little earlier in the call. I had a nice little wedding getaway earlier this week, and we were talking Texas. Isn't that right?
Talking
Zesty?
Texas sounds like the cheesiest podcast name imaginable. Fucking Talking Texas. But yeah, we were.
But you know you'd be a little tempted to like check that out. You'd be like, well, what's this?
Oh yeah,
Or it's too phony.
I'd want to make sure it's not something phony. Make sure it's legit. Actual true Texans talking about Texas, not like some fucking tourist.
They say everything is bigger in Texas. That's actually, it's like TF2 stylization. You make the hands big for the big guns, and that's how they do it in Texas, right?
Basically. I was literally born like that. I have giant hands.
Zesty is stylized like a TF2 character.
Is that what you got on with TF2? You were like represented?
Exaggerated silhouette.
I feel represented in this game due to my large stature and
Zesty would, I know, but Casual, Zesty would make a great JC Leyendecker painting. Right? Because he would be a great bold shape, a bold silhouette. He would be great at that, right? He would be instantly distinctive as a character for JC Leyendecker's homoerotic paintings that he made.
Wait, what? Where did the homoeroticism come from?
From JC, he was a gay man.
I didn't know this. This is news to me.
JC, he died in the arms of his lover as a gay man.
TF2 news.
Are you pulling my leg?
No, you can't believe that it would be. Oh no, TF2's gay.
No.
Like, you couldn't believe a painting being made by a gay man.
No, it's not what I mean. I'm just like, this is the first I've heard of him being homosexual.
Hold on.
I had no idea.
I mean, you can tell, but you can like tell though if you look at some of his shit, because there was like gay shit going on in some of these paintings on the low.
This is good for viewer engagement. This will like the first 2 minutes of the video.
I'll give you an example.
We'll show the examples on screen. Yeah.
Here, tell me this guy was on a little bit, he was fruity, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, right? He's just
okay, come on.
I wouldn't call that.
I think calling this fruity is rewriting history, frankly.
I don't feel any kind of homoerotic undertones here.
Every art historian that you will talk to will say that JC Leyendecker was with that gay shit a little bit. Well, not even a little bit, like a lot of it.
I mean,
and that's why they said his shit had homoerotic undertones. They all said that. That's actually true.
Maybe the folds around the buttocks on the man on the ground, there might be a little bit too much attention around that area. Maybe a little bit.
There's a lot of attention.
I think, well, now there's attention on it because we created the conversation about it. I think it's just like, it happens to be, at this position, but what can you do?
Look, man, this guy was gay. He was gay.
Okay, I see nothing in these, dude.
I think we've reduced his legacy to his sexuality, Richter.
No, you guys didn't even know he was fucking gay. You can't talk to me about
that's right. That's right.
I know it more than you.
I don't see anything remotely homoerotic in these.
I said it's the beautiful thing about his life.
I know more. I win the knowledge contest.
He died in the hands of his lover.
When's his birthday?
Someday. It was someday in probably fucking 1840 or something, 1850 or something like that, probably.
It's waiting for this like encyclopedic answer to come out of Richter, like he knows the exact month, day, year he was born.
I'm ready to be impressed.
What I do know is that JC Leyendecker, you gotta love JC Leyendecker. I mean, just look at the art; it's great. Even if you're not gay, right? Like I'm not gay, but I love this art. It's great.
This is like tainted or poisoned now. Like, oh well, now we know he's gay. Like, despite him being gay, his art is really good.
You're introducing that element. I think everything about this guy's art was awesome. But anyway,
I already agreed with that before knowing he was gay.
Low-key, TF2 was always gay. Can we consider this possibility? I'm just joking.
But, no, we're not going to. Listen, you're going to give the certain flavor of person exactly what they want by exploring this.
Yes. But
Speaking of gay, we are gay in the gaiety of joy and being together once again, reunited. It's been a long time since we've been together.
Yeah.
Is there anything that's changed really in the TF2 universe since we last chatted?
Not really. No, nothing. I mean, what else is new in that department, right?
I mean, I've just been hard at work on the video I'm working on, trying to make it good. That's difficult. I work on it every day, trying my best to make that good. I want to make it good. Calling up friends to work on it and make it better. But other than that, I just see people talking about like Phonyland and shit. and I kind of have
Also,
to like tap
TF2
out because
Classified
it's like
came out too
yeah,
in our break.
Oh wow, was that after? I guess
Yeah,
it was, wasn't it?
it
It must
was.
have been. That's interesting. What was your did you play any of that casual? I'm curious. I never asked you about it.
Oh, TF2 Classified? No, I just can't do the yellow green team thing, and I know that's not like the whole thing or whatever, but I just don't. I'm not like a mod guy. I don't really get excited by mods. You know, like I like
Well,
the vanilla.
I have like the opposite thing where I played it for like 10 years before it came to Steam, and there's like not really anything in it that wasn't already in it. So I was like, there was nothing new about it to me, but I still had a little bit of fun with it. It's a good experience, right? It's cool. There's like this is actually true. There's more love put into TF2 Classified than TF2 itself has had for like 10 plus years, right? So
Sure.
I think the experience
Yeah.
is valuable. It's cool. A lot of people enjoy
They have nice promos and stuff.
Yeah. They do some JC Leyendecker inspired shit I've seen, but gay stuff, by the way, is what I mean. No, I'm just kidding. No, but what was I about to say?
I mean, I for one
TF2
thoroughly enjoyed TF2 Classified. I found the mod really fun. Like even the 4-team stuff, it gets a little bit weird when the teams get stretched too thin. But if you're in a 32-player server, then like it's fine. It's a bit too chaotic, and like Richter made a good point before. Like, oh, if you have 4 teams, the only shape of map you can have is square, and so that kind of inhibits gameplay to a certain degree. But it's fun. Yeah. It's fine. I had my fun with it before it kind of got phased out.
Yeah, I loved the 4-team arena mode and that for years and years. That was like my favorite thing about it. But people don't like it in that community. They don't like to play it. But it's cool to me. It's like a battle royale or something. It's insane. It's like super.
I think the concept of it is cool gameplay wise. You know what I mean? Like it's exciting, but it's almost like a Pandora's box I don't want to open. And my justification is the colors. I just can't do the colors.
Yeah, the game is just not built for it, right? Like the game is not built for the P team. Like everyone just calls it the P and the weed team to be funny, and it's just it's clearly alien, right? Like the NG, when you make the NG yellow, now his entire design is yellow with his fucking hard hat. Everything is just weird. There's not like the game was designed with this binary of architectural styles for the red and the blue, and then they tried to make new ones for green and yellow, and they're obviously not as good because it's not like Jeff Ballinger, you know. It's like this is fan artists, and that's fine, right? Like fan artists volunteering shit. I'm not trying to shit on anybody, but
no, and also
I do love the arena mode. I love the 4-team arena mode. It's a shame that people don't like that more.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's my favorite thing about that mod.
Yeah, it's fun, but like I mean, like some basic color theory will explain why the 4 teams don't work out so well. Because I mean, red, blue are close to complementary, but then yellow, green are right next to each other on the color wheel. So like that strong contrast isn't there. Moreover, green is so similar to blue that depending on the lighting of the map, at a quick glance, oh shit, is that person on blue or green? I'm not sure. Yellow, that yellow stands out. That's not really a problem in terms of like catchings because it's a primary color, right? Red, yellow, blue. If it was 3 teams, red, yellow, blue, that would work better. But the fourth one with the green in there is not as good.
Base TF2 is like designed for colorblind people. Like you can play it if you're colorblind. They went out of the
I was gonna say,
right? So,
dude, green is not a canon TF2 color.
It's not.
Find green and launch TF2.
No, there's no flavor. There's no strong flavor of green in launch TF2.
Don't tell me about some hose or whatever. Richter.
Yeah, not like any major aspect. Like you have like okay, so like the trees in the background of Granary, I suppose, have green on them.
It's not a primary color. No, it's a rare color in the TF2 palette.
Yeah,
give me the credit here on the point.
Yeah, and it is a good point. It's only used as an accent color and by no means takes up any like significant amount of visual real estate. We didn't really start getting green as a significant color until they started exploring the Alpine theme more. Like once the Alpine theme came forward, and even then, that was handled beautifully well because really dark Alpine green, like conifer green, pine tree green, that works really well when you otherwise have red and blue against that, and that makes things stick out because it's so close to brown because of how dark it is that it still works really well. In similar way to the Badlands aesthetic with all like the deeper, darker browns and reds and tans and all those other earthy colors. Earthy colors in general work really well with TF2, so long as they aren't like ultra bright.
I got into an argument about whether Sniper's pants are green on the red team, and somebody was telling me it's green. I'm like, well, that's brown, right? Like I don't.
Yes. Hold on.
Am I insane?
I'm being gaslit here. There's no way.
Okay, but is the
red
sniper rifle
or blue
scope
sniper?
green? Is the red sniper rifle, or sorry, it's just
Well, the fact that we even have to ask the
That's not
question is
green.
proof that we're not dealing with this. Like,
it's proof that it's muted out of this palette.
think about green as like RGB G255 R0 B0. Like that's what we're talking about when we talk about green. You know?
We're not. I like how you know that off the top of your head. By the way, like we're not talking about the really washed out shades of green. Well, green's everywhere in TF2. It's fucking no. We're talking about hypersaturated, in your face green. That's what we mean.
See, I thought casual. I thought you were saying that there's literally no. I immediately thought of well.
Well, that's okay. That's you can't. Okay,
look at how little. I'll show these on screen too. Look at how little visual real estate that takes up overall with everything else. Right?
I know, but it's not true to say that it's not in the game, right? But that's all. That's
well, dude. But little. Richter, I'm gonna have like an intervention with you about like big picture thinking and details.
Obviously, well, you don't have to tell me about big picture thinking. I know what you're trying to say. I'm just
okay.
I'm playing the role of the commenter who's going to be like, well, casual's wrong about that.
No, you're right. Damn, you got me. That's the ultimate counter argument. You're like, I'm just providing the necessary recoil, which will happen anyway. It's like, damn.
Right. Actually, green was everywhere in Team Fortress 2, so it's okay if we just make everyone look like a lime. You stupid person. Yeah. Did you not think that one through? I guess not.
Yeah.
Yeah, favorite green things in TF2 difficult, but like
favorite green things.
Let's go. Look
sniper rifle scope, sniper rifle scope.
It's
sniper
not
rifle
green.
Or handle, I think. Right?
The hose on granary.
It's not.
I don't even know if that's truly green.
Is there a hose on granary?
Sticky bomb
There's a green hose on Badlands in the house to mid. There's a green hose. Oh my god.
Bomb launcher drum is green. Right?
No, it's not. Stop doing this to me.
Wait, what is it then? Is it not green?
Wait, guys, let's name our favorite blue things in Team Fortress 2. And then you get overwhelmed.
That is not green. That is brown. What do you...
Yeah, what's up?
I just want to say, also, is that... I don't know, man. That's kind of green, right?
No, it's not.
Okay, what are we... we got to drop the green thing. I felt like you're about to go somewhere else.
This is the last thing. I always said this. I guess in different lighting conditions, it looks more brown.
And maybe different like screen settings.
We're talking about like the true energy of green, like pure green.
I know.
Okay.
Well, okay, but also the casual, like no like 255 color is represented in TF2 very much. It's all like a desaturated palette.
No, but think about blue and red team. They're like very clearly saturated blues and reds. Okay, sure, it's not 255, but dude, Richter, how are we having this conversation? Okay, you're representing Reddit.
Dude,
it's
like
okay.
if that is green, right? Like if that is green, this is brown. What I'm showing on screen right now. If that's green, this post-it is brown, right?
See, what you guys are doing is you're seeing my pain, because when we would talk to people about Gold Rush, they'd be like, we'd make a point, like there's no way to, you can't have green. We'd be like, we don't want green like hats and shit. And then people would be like, well, what about the sniper's pants, and post something that's brown. So it's AIDS, it's Hitler, it's horrible.
Yeah, but these are people you don't have to engage with those people.
You don't engage with these people. They're obviously baiting you. They're not actually in it for a real conversation, or they're just retards. I'm sorry, it's stupid.
That's
You're giving credibility to their argument by being like, I'm representing them. It's like, they don't need representation.
No,
they need suppression.
They need suppression.
Yes.
Jesus.
No, that's actually like a true thing, because anyone trying to make the argument that Sniper's pants are green should be disregarded immediately.
I agree.
There's going to be one motherfucker in the comments writing a fucking novel as to why Sniper's pants are green, and therefore, by extension, any shade of green is okay in TF2.
I remember I got so mad in that argument. I pulled up like the texture sheet and I like color picked it, and I was like, this is still a brown to me. Like I'm looking at it and they're like, well, if you look, I don't see green on the Sniper's pants.
Dude, if you have to even like we said a moment ago, if you have to even argue whether or not it's green, it's not green.
Okay.
It's like there's no doubt that like the medic's gloves on the blue team are blue. Like we don't have to talk about that. Everybody knows they're blue.
But casual, it's like I agree with you. The arc of history is long. The arc of history is long, but it bends towards the fact that the arc of this, MLK Jr. said this, that the arc of history is long, but it bends toward the fact that your shit in TF2 should not be fucking green, and that is true.
Yes.
Can we? Did you guys see the changes to CP Metalworks?
There were changes to Metalworks.
This was like covertly done, like a couple weeks ago, a month ago. I gotta.
I think there were some other map. I think Process got some changes too. I don't know what they changed.
Well, you might have like glazed over the patch notes as I was going to until I was shown like how distinctly they actually changed the visuals of the last point, and they created some new stuff on like the second point on Metalworks. We can get into the nitty gritty of what that is. I should probably send you guys a picture, but
yeah, I'm curious.
Am I the only one that's just like, it's just so bizarre and fascinating to imagine like whatever is actually happening at Valve, and there's somebody being like, we need to like touch up the last of Metalworks.
Thing is, what's happening is that
perfectly fine map.
What's happening is that's not Valve's doing. The map makers are submitting these changes, and then Valve just pushes them. And that happened with CP Steel. CP Steel had the same thing where the map creator just pushed a bunch of changes.
Wait, so that was done by the creator of Steel? That's tragic.
Yes.
That's tragic.
I agree. It is tragic because the old Steel was so much better before they added those doors. That's just my...
That's so strange. Yeah. Okay, I just assumed it was so sacrilege it couldn't have been the hands of the original maker, but...
No, it was.
No, that's the only way this stuff happens. Here's what you got to understand is sometimes people get, and this is not even... I know you guys are talking about the creator of Metalworks or Steel or something. It's not any shade at them. But there's always a lot of point about the intentionality of like the author of a piece of work. But there's also a reason that you have like fucking Death of the Author you learn about in fucking in writing class.
Well, dude, it's been like 10 years.
Some people get like demented and fucked up when they're old. Like if Zesty someday woke up in 10 years and he's like, all my videos are about grapefruits. That's what they're about. That doesn't matter, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's... You have to be able to independently value things and appraise them yourself.
I agree.
It's a valuable skill. So
we just
like
need
people
authority,
Doom, right? The people who make Doom are like, yeah, if we had it back then, we would have totally made it brutal Doom. And it's like, well, no, you wouldn't have. What the fuck are you talking about? You would have made like crazy screaming swears and flipping people off and throwing barrels at shit. Like, no, it's like,
no.
I get the sentiment, but no, you're wrong. That's what people talk about with Star Wars. They get mad and say like George Lucas went senile. It's the same thing.
I mean, it is the equivalent of like throwing a bonus alien on the screen with CGI in 2004
that is
or whatever.
That is what they're doing to CP Steel. That is what it feels like.
It's very strange. It's very. I want to know
any
what
of those like post like way later map changes, because I've seen some people arguing about Turbine because we're playing the original version of Turbine. People are like, oh man, it sucks that you can't like climb on the computer rack to get to that like health or whatever.
Okay, I
like
think
any of those changes, Kendall?
I feel like when they do clipping changes or like skybox changes, those are great. I think that's what they did to Process as well. I think they raised the skybox.
Mostly that, and they raised the skybox. But whenever they do significant layout changes, I find that extremely bizarre because those are things that actually affect gameplay. And for whatever reason, Valve has been severely allergic to doing that for a long time now. But then very recently, they just started accepting wild changes to existing maps. So it's like, okay.
Yes. I was just like the child on the playground who didn't want to play pretend when you were 5 years old, and I was the guy. I was the 14-year-old child or whatever when the Fat Engineer thing came out, and my friend gleefully put it on and was doing manneristic trolling in the server, and I was like, "What is TF2 becoming?" I was a prude.
Oh, the beginning of the
end. I had that for the conga. I thought
conga is understandable.
Conga just shut down servers for a week because everyone was doing it.
I think it's crazy. Even the Star video, he's like, "This game is fucked. Like, how is this gonna?" Like, he was being funny about. He's laughing, but it's like, what even is this game anymore?
So it was signs of things to come, and
nowadays,
look where we are now, dude.
You get so much hate. People be like, "You are joyless if you don't like the conga." And
dude, yeah, like, and not even just like the conga. And the conga's been in the game for over 10 years. But like anything else they decide to add, like it's like, oh, what you don't want like the pyro riding a giant inflatable balloon like as an emote, right? And if you don't like that, then you're against it, and then you like hate all things that are whimsical and fun. And okay, this is actually touching on something I wanted to speak about today. So I did have one topic that came to mind, and this is like a more general overarching thing. But to like quickly wrap up the thing on like the 6 devs or whatever that are working on TF2, it's not actually 6 devs working on TF2. Long story short with that, whenever they update blog posts, they leave a signature with their Steam ID, and it turns out that there's like 6 people that have touched TF2 over the past 3 years or so, and really it's just Eric Smith and one other person that are doing the blog posting. It's not really indicative of who's doing what at Valve, who's doing work on what game. It's probably just like whoever's told like, hey, go do the blog post for this or whatever. It is interesting. It is interesting that they're that you can like see these things and who's actually like, who's choosing the pros on some of these posts. Like now we can see who wrote the Schizo MVM blog post, right? We know who did that now. With the really bizarre writing. Yeah, we can see who did that now because it has the signature on there. I don't remember who it is, but we can see who wrote that.
Yeah, put that, Zesty editing Zesty, find that, put it on screen. I'm curious.
Yeah, I'll put that on screen too. Yeah.
I don't know. It's Tyler McVicker has said a million times that somebody's doing something with TF2. For what it's worth, I believe him. I believe there's some gear moving up there, but whether it will matter to us,
I
is an entirely different story.
I just don't buy it, man. With what's going on at Valve right now, it's full speed ahead on Deadlock. They got their hardware ventures in, full speed, highest gear, all that shit. I just really can't see them putting any kind of serious attention towards TF2 as an IP. I just... other than what they're trying to do with this MVM update, I am extremely pessimistic, and I just strongly doubt they're doing anything significant with TF2 at all.
Yeah.
I feel like you're giving them credit, even by... Yeah, go for it.
I know, go on, sorry, Casual, you go.
Okay. No, just by even perpetuating the narrative that they're trying to do something with the MVM update, I feel like is generous. Because
yeah.
I guess I get why people want to get hyped or whatever, especially if you're an MVM enthusiast. However, need I remind everyone that we were promised a heavy update like how long ago?
10 years ago?
Like I don't...
Yeah.
Valve could post the most amazing thing in the blog or whatever, and I'm like incapable to actually react. I mean, I just don't know how people...
This is what's annoying to me. It's like when you tell me that it's like... When you tell me that MVM is getting an update, it's like you're telling me Alien Swarm is getting an update. Like
there's that as well. That's a bonus component. That's bonus.
Like this is like some weird shit from like 14 years. Like it's fun. Like an Alien Swarm is fun. I've played it. It's fun. It's a decent enough game. The problem with that game is that all of the dialogue is like, you're not going to believe this. There's aliens ahead. There's a swarm of aliens ahead, and you need to kill them. And you kill a giant swarm of aliens. And then he's like, this bad news, guys, more aliens up ahead. And that's the entire game. And it's like pretty much MVM too, though, right? Like that's the same.
Bad news, guys, robots up ahead.
Am I supposed to be excited that, like, especially knowing what once you've seen how the sausage is made with TF2, which like everybody has by now, of like, oh yeah. Like 10 years ago, it was a little bit more of an esoteric thing of like, oh, how does a workshop work? How are these items getting put into the game? But like now it's so like,
now everyone knows how it goes.
If I look at the workshop, if I subscribe to a couple of these add-ons and then I boot them up and play them with friends, I can get a pretty good emulation of what launch day of any update is going to be like. Right?
Yeah.
That's like, so it's like, I don't even understand how people can be particularly excited about that, to be honest. It's weird to me.
Yeah. Well, like now that we know the flow, and then it's been the same flow for, the greater part of the past 10 years, I don't see how people get hyped for it either. Like it's just the same thing over and over again. We know what's coming.
It's MVM, like and they fumbled it last time that it was like, oh, this one's going to be different because it was like versus X and Halo, like, oh, a new game mode. And it was just like it was Hitler AIDS. It was horrible. The launch was abysmal. Like,
yeah, I mean, there was 3 weeks of it being unplayable. You just could not and that was something I think we've lamented on a previous episode, where that was the centerpiece for the summer update, and it just didn't work for a month. And then by the time it was fixed, all the hype behind the update was gone.
It felt like Meet Your Match 2 to me. And I know that sounds like dramatic, but it was like with Meet Your Match, it's like, okay, new update, let me go boot up the game, and I can't play it. Well, everyone was booting that to try the versus Saxon Hale thing, and that didn't work.
Yep,
so
and no one could play it.
They did Meet Your Match again, like 7 years later.
Yeah,
they just were like,
I got the exact
the
same
problem,
vibe.
Fucked up casual. Somehow we have another big update where casual is breaking the content we want to play. Somehow that happened again, like 5 years later. It's like if a fucking third... Never mind. I was gonna make a.
Gee, I wonder what the underlying component is here. It couldn't be the broken matchmaking system. No, yeah. Which has.
I don't think we'll ever figure it out.
We'll never know the source of this game's problems, dude. No. Oh my god. So okay.
It's annoying, right? People act like it's a Gordian knot. People act like there's no way to untie this knot. It's impossible. We're just gonna have to deal with it. But it's like, dude, it's like it's bunny ears, bro. Just like pull them apart. It's like so simple.
Yeah,
but I guess I don't know. The thing is, up at Valve, they probably think about it like they probably think about matchmaking in TF2 the same way they think about it in like CS2, right? Where it's like, oh well, that's that thing we've had. Like, why would we get rid of that? That was progress.
Yeah.
And so
I think
we
can't give them too much credit on their thought process.
That's the angle. A little bunny, speaking of rabbits, a little bunny told me that like a good way to motivate Valve is to like, instead of demanding reversion or like fixing something, spin it as if though it were iteration or advancement or progress, because that's all that Valve is interested in. They're interested in doing like the next new thing or the next big change and not like walking backwards, because if it's not progress, it's not profit. And that's like a big viewpoint that Valve has on so many of their things. And so, like, in some way, I have to figure out how to spin, like, unraping the game into, like, you know, like, it's into something progressive for the game's future. You know what I mean?
You have to figure out how to make that a part of something that can benefit a Valve employee's bonus incentive
Basically,
pay
yes.
structure.
Basically, yes.
Which, by the way, I got hit with, like, such a nuclear... I got staggered recently. Like, if you guys ever played Left 4 Dead 2 and you get staggered and your character goes into third person for a second,
Yep.
and you like you're Nick and you're falling back.
Yep.
Put a visual on screen because a bunch of people.
I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, yeah. Those who know, but I'll put the GIF on screen.
Those who fucking know. But I got hit with an argument that I had never heard before, and I'm not even raising this as necessarily I want to publicly agree with this, but it did make me think of, like, you guys remember when Soldier's voice actor passed away a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Correct.
they did that update where they added like bronze statues of him in, like, all the maps and shit. Remember that?
Yep. The Rick May statues, yes.
Yeah. They turned, like, the death of, like, a voice actor into, like, a Fortnite, like, content update that, like, benefited some Valve employees, like, bonus incentive structure. Because, like, what that did, like, benefited so much positive PR for Valve. Like, they had articles written about how Valve was paying tribute to this, like, legend and stuff. And that was, like how little work probably realistically went into that versus, like I said, it sounds evil and cynical, but there's a little bit of truth to it where it was kind of like a Fortnite content bonus.
Yes.
For Fortnite content update that they used for, like, a bonus, and, like, somebody probably got a bunch of points at Valve for, like, and I don't want to say it was, like, exploiting, because it is kind of ghoulish to even think of it in that way, but it is dark to think whoever implemented that probably got, like, awarded for that internally at Valve.
Yeah, even if it wasn't their intention, even if it wasn't their intention to, like, get a good positive PR response to that, it was such a massive outpouring of positivity from the player base that as a result of that Valve's like, oh, good job, thank you for doing that. It's like, well, I didn't mean to do that, but okay, I'll take the money.
It's hard for me to unsee it, Zesty, because that's the exact kind of, like, extremely optimized, like, work that Valve's incentive structures, like, incentivize, right?
Yeah,
like, that's
absolutely.
Like perfect textbook thing to turn in to, like, to get your bonus incentive.
And again, for those who doubt us, I will once again point to that thread of tweets from the former Valve employee. I'll put the link to the original Reddit post in the description. Like, if you think we're pulling the bonus incentive shit out of our ass, nope, that's how they operate.
So I got hit with that, and that was just grim, because I didn't want to think about it that way. But it was kind of unavoidable.
Yeah, it is pretty grim. And, like, what else is grim is, like, that you say it was a massively positive PR thing, but the first thing I think of is, like, okay, everyone's excited that, like, okay, we're remembering Rick May, which is objectively a good thing, but then that was juxtaposed to hundreds of bots in the servers, like, renaming themselves like Rick May as a pedophile. Like, that was happening at the exact same time, and, like, all of the game journal articles and shit, like, no one was talking about that. No one was talking about the bots doing this, at least outside of Reddit, right? Like, no significant push to address that problem was ever attempted until a long time later, right? I think my timeline's right. Like, Rick May died in 2020? 21, I think. I don't remember exactly. But, like, all of the pushes from the player base to get Valve to do something about the bots, you'd think it would have been immediately after that point. It would have been immediately after that phase. Like, they're calling the voice actor of the soldier a pedophile. Like, you'd think that would have lit a big enough fire under the player base's ass to get them to, like, ask Valve to do something. But we just kept not doing anything, and people just kept opening cases and giving Valve money when this was happening at the exact same time. To me, that shit is insane. Just thinking about all that at the same time is, like, that shit. It's so fucking insane to me. Like, how I said this in a commentary I just put out on my channel. Like, just how numb everyone became to how the game was being treated and the state of the game, where you could have the Rick May statues put forth, people celebrate Valve for doing that, and then at the exact same time, you could not play the game. Bots were renaming themselves to horrible things. And, like, oh, but it's okay. We'll just keep giving Valve money. Oh my God, what the fuck is wrong with the people that play this game, man? Oh.
Well, the players' priorities and the developers' priorities are one and the same. It's not about the game. It hasn't been about the game for a long time.
That's true. That is 100% true. Because they're not players. They're not fucking players.
I want to put something in contrast to you. Hold on, Casual.
Yeah, you can go for it.
Like an hour while Zesty goes on a monologue. Compare that to when the what do they call it? The Great Depression happened. That was fixed in like 5 hours. Yeah. So if it was bots that were, raping the economy or something, Valve would act very swiftly. But that's not what that's not what TF2 is about, and like that's not what it is for the. It's not what it is for most of the player base. It's not what it's not the primary draw for most of the player base. It's not the primary draw for most of or for the developers, obviously. So obviously, the game is not the priority with TF2, and I sort of wish
absolutely.
people were more cognizant.
And that is so true. Like the gameplay has not been the priority for any treatment of Team Fortress 2 for so long. The priorities have been the moneymakers and keeping like the large, like massive, like Oort cloud of people engaged in TF2 still orbiting the IP, even though they don't really play with the game or engage with it at a deeper level. It's like, oh, there's more hats, and oh look, like Morbius is in the game now, and like funny memes, and oh my god, yay, millions of dollars, and that's it. That's like where the care stops from Valve, and also most of the people that engage with the game. But then if you like go ask anyone that plays the game on a regular basis, they're gonna have a completely different viewpoint and a completely different aspect on what the state of the game is. And and you're right, Richter. I wish more people acknowledge this shit.
I feel like there's a weird divide between the people who actually play TF2 on the regular and then people who are even influential, vocal figures in the TF2 world, or even just the people who post on Reddit, or you guys are kind of expressing that there's a lot of people who, I mean, obviously we know Valve doesn't really involve themselves in the gameplay, but then there's so much of the TF2 community that goes further into, okay, this is just about SFM and fan art, or this is just about trading and digital hats. And I feel like there's such a disconnect because I think TF2 is filled with so many, like, I'm gonna say it not derogatorily, but actually as a good thing, so many like NPC type normal ass dudes, and I guess girls, but mostly dudes because that's gaming.
It's just true. It's just true. Women do not play Team Fortress 2. We know this.
Yeah. Well, okay.
I'm kidding. It's a joke.
Diversion. I'm failing at my point here. But my point is there's some normal ass dudes who aren't even typing in chat or like talking or like posting on Reddit. They don't make friends with people. Like they're like soldiers in their own lives, and then they play TF2 sometimes. And probably if you talk to them about like the economy of TF2 and Valve, they don't know what they're talking about. I feel like the few times I've actually met people in real life in the last few years, not through TF2, just like in the wild, and we're chatting, and it comes up that they play TF2, which maybe has happened 2 or 3 times. Like, I feel like those people who are in the, like started playing recently, sub 5,000 hours, they're just not tapped into so much of that stuff. They might be like, oh yeah, I watched so-and-so's video and it got me into TF2, and then I just kind of play whatever, but they don't have a sense of the history. They don't have a sense of all that, but they just play, and they're not posting on Reddit, and they're not talking about game balance and color theory and like,
yeah.
So that is fascinating to me, that I just feel like there's such a 2 separate worlds going on. Even further, we could say this was almost, I don't know if I'm going too off the rails here, but I've been thinking a lot lately about how there's a difference between daytime TF2 and nighttime TF2. Even if we're just talking about like what you can experience in the matchmaker, do you have a thought there?
No, go on. I want to see what your thoughts are on the dichotomy between day and night here. What are your thoughts?
Well, okay, for a very long time, I shouldn't say that, but there was a year where I was 100% a night player, a night shift player. Like, dude, catch me playing before midnight, rare. And and I was with all those people who you would sometimes run into a lot of the same people, but also there's like a different breed and culture of those people. Also, the types of maps you get is very different. It's part of the reason I found a lot of refuge on Dust Bowl, because if you want like a serious match that's going to actually last a while and people kind of know how to play the game, Dust Bowl's a pretty good choice. You realize when it's late at night, it's like, oh my God, I can't even get into any 5 capture point game. I can't even get into a Koth game. I'm only going to get into like 3 payload maps and maybe Dust Bowl. But then the point is, during the daytime too, I think there's way more of an assault of random toxicity and like,
oh yeah.
I mean, there also can be lots of just innocent stuff. I think the morning crowd is probably the most pure in TF2, and sometimes the late night crowd runs into this where it's like the people are like, you say something in chat like, wow, it's late, and everyone's like, what's wrong with you? I'm about to go to school. You get all these like wholesome Chungus types who woke up at like 6 a.m. and they're playing like half an hour of TF2 before their responsibilities. Those people seem like good people.
So
but,
I mean,
riff off me.
Yeah, what you've described essentially is the difference between people that have lives and responsibilities and the people that don't. And so the people that have lives and responsibilities are the ones that play in the evenings or early in the mornings before their responsibilities kick in, where they're going to be more normal, well-rounded people that are usually much more pleasant to be around and much more cordial to their fellow man. And then all the people that are just playing in the middle of the day, unless these are like night shift workers and they're time offs in the middle of the day. Not talking about you guys, but I'm talking about the ones that are unemployed, the people that just play video games all day, every day. That specific type of person is not as well socialized. They don't have those responsibilities and real world interactions that make them into that more well-rounded person that would be otherwise pleasant to be around. And that's why you get higher amounts of like bizarre toxicity or just weird conversations and voice chat and like the weird fetishy people kind of clock out at about 5 p.m. to go do whatever it is they do at night. But like this is by nature of me, being self-employed right now and working from home. I do a lot of playing my TF2 between the hours of 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. And in that band right there, you get the most bizarre shit and the most cracked out toxic shit and like the most insane like fetishy furry shit or like furries or whatever else. And it's mostly people who don't go to work or people that are otherwise like, unemployed or not an educated NEETs basically. And I think that's what we've just described is people with responsibilities and without.
Richter, thoughts? I want to tell this forever. I think this is good.
Older, newer, daytime and nighttime players.
Yeah.
Not as engaged in this one.
Well, you guys got my mind racing about Valve sentiment, and that's where my head is at. But
okay, we triggered you.
Definitely in I don't know, nighttime TF2 is like going outside in real life. That's what I have to add. It's actually true.
Yeah, that's when most people do their socialization is after work or after school.
It's the same thing as like going to work versus going to club after work. It's the same thing.
Yeah. I'm just amazed at how much the experience can vary. And I think I realized this at a certain point when I was realizing like, oh, I'm a nighttime player and the people I'm talking to might be daytime players, because I would just hear these things about what people are experiencing. And I'm like, that's not true. I'm like, I'm playing casual mode every night. And it's a different experience of the maps, the types of players, the attitudes of people and all that. And
well, casual. I'll engage you here. There's like a clip of Joe Rogan talking about like it's a terrible way to start something.
Quake and his T1 line. Please.
No. And I saw this clip.
We've invoked Rogan's name. Careful. Oh no.
Okay.
Well, I don't watch Joe Rogan. I just saw this clip on Twitter before anyone freaks out. But he was talking about like he likes to hang out with the fuck ups more than he likes to hang out with normal people, because those people are up at weird hours. They're introspective, they're like melancholic, but they have like weird, crazy ambitions. Whereas you meet somebody who has like a regular, like a 9 to 5 working in an office, and they've kind of like surrendered their soul to the system. And that's the same thing with like late night TF2 for me. You meet the people who are like, yeah, this guy is the same ping as me, so I know it's also 2 a.m. for him right now, and he's here playing TF2 on a Tuesday. So there's a spiritual bond there, right?
Dude, totally. I had the most insane powerhouse match recently, and it was probably around that time, 2 a.m. And just everyone was getting like hyped up in the voice chat, and it was taking, like an hour and a half. And it was hilarious, the collective reprieve from our team when we finally won the second point to like properly finish the match. Because you had this victory cry from everyone, and then everyone also being like, I'm gonna go to bed. Like, this took way longer than it needed to. But God, what a satisfying experience that was.
Remember when you can do that on every map?
Dude, this is the thing that haunts me, and this is why I'm low-key really kind of wanting the resurgence of the Gold Rush mod. I know this is the hot topic, and Richter can go nuts on it or whatever. But the thing I enjoyed about the brief period of the 1 month of actually being able to play that mod was that it was pretty much active enough that you could play all these old maps you just never can play anymore.
Yes.
Like all the payload race maps, all the arena maps, even just a lot of control point maps that it's like really hard to get a proper 12v12 game of these days. Dude,
I love CP Freight so much. I could live on CP Freight, and I just never get to, and like CP Well too, I never get to play on these maps in TF2 anymore unless I populate my own server.
But it's like Theodore Parker said, like the arc of history is long, but it bends toward Team Fortress 2 Gold Rush.
Dude, and Hydro, for God's sake, I feel like there's so many maps too that are in this category where you have to ask yourself, dude, if I played this map as much as I've played Badwater, as much as I've played Dust Bowl, what am I going to think of this map, or what kind of experiences am I going to have? Because I feel like there's so many maps that you can't even call your review sufficient for it. You know what I mean? Because
no, for sure,
dude, Hydro is the perfect example too, where it's like, I just want to take everyone's thoughts on Hydro with such a grain of salt. Maybe unless you were like, I feel like the only period you could have actually played it regularly often was, I don't know, like pre-2010 or something. Because I started January 2012. People weren't playing Hydro already at that point.
You could typically find a full server.
I got to play a lot of Hydro in Gold Rush, which is interesting, right? Because it's like no auto reload, no uninterruptible reloads, uninterruptible reloads and all the weapons that uninterruptible reloads and all the shit that like slows the game down. And I realized like there's not like Team Fortress 2 is kind of a terrible game kind of now. It's like really like it's like beyond like when you have like 40,000 mechanics and like there's 500 types of sticky bomb launcher. Like, okay, did the pyro need okay, the flare gun is like a great weapon, right? Like this adds so much to TF2. Did the pyro need 5 flare guns? Are we making this game exponentially better and adding a bunch of calories to it by having 5 flare guns? And like all these like insane mechanics, and like here's something to mention. Before the class rules in TF2 used to be distinct, which meant that teamwork was more necessary. Right? And that has a big impact on how the game is played. Like, Star has old videos talking about this. Like, everybody can put themselves out of a fire. Everybody can heal themselves. The soldier can use the black box to not need a medic. Like, this makes the game more isolated. That's why you see, like, Uncle Dane videos that are like, Team Fortress 2 is not a team-based game. And it's like, well, that's true now, but that's like, this game was built from, like, fucking Doom. Like, Doom and Quake. Like, they took Fortress.wad, that shit. Like, they took Doom, which was multiplayer free-for-all, and like, what if we made 2v2 gameplay, right? 2v2 team-based gameplay with classes and all this shit that TF2 grew out of. And to say that this game that was intrinsically created to be a team-based shooter with teamwork, cooperative mechanics is not like that. Just say that that's like not true. That's not true. That it wasn't. That it's not like that. It's not like that anymore, right? But that's a pretty radical change, or a more recent change.
Dude, isn't it interesting
Hydro,
too? Yeah, go for it. Okay.
People are so like, if you walk into Hydro in modern TF2, it's like
which will never happen. By the way,
if you walk into it's literally like teleporting a person. It's like teleporting Aiden Ross into like the prehistoric age. Like this doesn't go together. There's no room to even make observations about the scenario, because the scenario is inherently absurd, okay? This level was not designed for that. And so playing Hydro and Gold Rush, I realized that the analysis that could be done about this map is not being done because people haven't taken the time to play it in older versions of the game and analyze the elements that worked and the elements that didn't. And the conclusion that I drew about Hydro from the time I spent playing a casual is that, first of all, I think the spawns are fucked up a little bit. They all like face you in the wrong direction compared to where you actually need to go a lot of the time. It takes a long time to get used to where you go. There's some very unintuitive paths that you have to take, and most maps it's very easy to tell which way the game is trying to tell you to go. They had to add these arrows to Hydro, and it just didn't even fucking help. But what I realized is it's basically just 5 CP, right? It's basically 5 CP, but a randomized mid-match based on a couple of different scenarios. And then we realized you could take... There's a CSS map, Counter-Strike source map. I think it's called Havana, where they just randomize like the doors and windows that are open or closed. So each round, the paths are slightly different. If they had just made Hydro a 5 CP map, right, you would see more of the map in every game, and then you could use that same system in hammers like Logic or however the fuck it works to just make it a randomized mid-fight. And that would probably be a better version of Hydro. But I'm not going to bother to make it, so I'm just putting that idea out. That was, after months and months of playing Hydro, that was the conclusion I kept coming to, is just make this a 5 CP map with a randomized mid-fight. And I think it would be great. I think it would actually be really fun.
Someone can do that still. Someone can do that right now.
I have two little quick points that you made me think. One is that, like, I wanted to mention, when we're talking about appreciating the simplicity of the game before so many different weapons were added that kind of contradict the playstyle of each class. I just want to mention, this is where you are aligned with the competitive community, the Sixes community, because they've basically been playing the same version of the game for 15 years or something. I mean, the meta's changed, but it's all the same weapons. It's all the stock stuff.
And that's totally fine. And I can understand like the immense frustration where like, okay, this class has this role and does this thing, getting completely upended by the addition of a new weapon that just makes balance completely thrown into disarray and affects the flow. And that's happened with vanilla TF2 time and time again with every new weapon addition. But it's much more heavily realized in competitive formats because of, smaller team sizes. Set roles have way much more impact on the flow than, say, if you can have 3 other people playing the same class, right? So, yeah, I'm also in alignment on that, too, where it's like, I completely understand the frustration, and I also dislike it.
Sorry about the Hydro rant. I had a better rant I could have done.
There was another point that you made me think about Hydro, but I think I was only frustrated in that I still wanted to say, like, it's still not enough time. It's like
well, that's like a huge factor right now is like players aren't given enough time to play on all of the maps we have, including the old ones, to walk away with a well-rounded opinion of the experience or what kind of experience the map could actually provide and how well it's actually made. And that's something that's like really infuriating to me is and this is like going back to like 15 minutes ago where I said like Valve's not really doing anything for gameplay. Someone's going to say, well, they're adding maps. It doesn't really matter when you're only playing on them for 2 weeks and then they just die and you never play on them again. You're not experiencing the map enough to know what it's like to really learn the ins and outs and all the corners. Because like, do you have the same level of encyclopedic knowledge of Upward as you do on a map that was added last year? Fuck no, of course you don't, because you haven't played on that map not nearly as much, right? And as a result of that, the maps aren't being given their fair shake and are more often than not being dismissed as good or like acceptable because like, oh, a lot of people are kind of poisoned by novelty and think it's like great because like it's new and it's fun, it's exciting. And then once that wears off and like goes away, what you're noticing, and Wheezy did this, or Wheezy showed this very well, like in hindsight, you go back and like all the previous updates that had all these maps and people are like, oh my god, look at all these maps, this is great, we're having so much fun. And then Wheezy did his own map rating video where all the new maps are rated to be abysmal dog shit. Like everyone hates them, people prefer the older maps that are well designed and are more fun to go play on that people consistently return to. And so the result of that is bloat and people not having well-rounded opinions on how the maps are, on how good the maps are. People have lost their critical, discerning eye because they're not spending enough time playing these things and actually thinking about what they're doing because they're just blinded by the novelty. It's like, it's so new, it's so fun. They don't think about whether or not the map is actually good. Like fucking Aquarius gets added. Here we go. Zesty getting angry about new content again. Like Aquarius added last year and people are like, oh my god, it's like the SeaWorld shark map. It's so fucking cool. But then if you actually think about what you're doing and think about what's happening as you play on that map, it plays like shit. Half of the time you're underwater and like combat was not made to happen underwater most because like the water we have on some maps, you're not spending your entire amount of time in there. The verticality of the map is awful. There's a couple of sightlines that are terrible aids and the map plays like shit, but like no one was saying that because they're all blinded by like, oh look, it's cool and new, and this is going back to something else I still want to talk about, like, oh, the new thing is good, how could you hate it, you hate fun, that kind of shit. Just, makes me so mad that like even the gameplay content we do get has been made to be disposable. Everything's disposable. It just gets cast aside.
There's an art to keeping things simple too, and I think it's part of where I would actually say the cosmetic system and all that, and like strange weapons and vintage weapons. I think we're a good innovation because it basically keeps the gameplay the same and focuses on just like how do we have new experiences in these same places, because I think even if you look at the pace of maps being added to the game, there was a little more gentle grace to the pace of it in those earlier years where it was like a major update. If we think of the Meet the Pyromania update, we got one map, we got Doomsday, and it was easy then to like focus on it and actually have some time to learn it. And this was the pace.
Wait, Zesty, can you
was
put
there
in
another
the
map?
clip from,
No.
can you put in that clip from Casual's SD Doomsday video? It goes, I don't remember you, but you sing like SD Doomsday. You sing it really funny, and I always remember that.
Don't put that
I'll
clip.
try to
Put
hunt
that in
that
there.
down.
At which location would a person start? Da, 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 da. At which location would a person start? In the occasion that they desire understanding of the might of a game level, such as SD Doomsday.
Put that in there. It's his SD Doomsday video. It's hard. You can't miss it.
You can watch the video, but yeah, I don't know if you need to put that clip in
Casual,
there.
Oh, I
about,
will. I will.
Oh,
Yeah.
you have a point you're gonna make a Pyromania?
Just okay. I think the problem that has changed, like with the world too. You were talking about it as well, how the class roles have become less defined, and it's almost like you're able to live more individualistically in the game, where like you don't need a medic as much if you have an item that can heal you, right? Or if you can extinguish yourself with your whatever it is, like your milk, your Drata, you don't need a pyro to air blast you as much. Or that's not the perfect example, but it aligns with society's trajectory too. Like I feel like 2007 was also just pre the insanity of a lot of social media and like the influencer age, and a little more, I don't want to say collectivistic or whatever, but it's before things got this severe. And I think the same thing can be said for the way our attention spans have gotten so short, right? Where I think it was like acceptable to have like, hey, here's just like a little bit of something in 2010. To now where it's the point of like, oh, here's a new update, have 36 unusual effects and 15 community maps, and it's just it's like scrolling through TikTok. Yeah, it's like, is this good? Is this what we actually want? Is this why we like TF2 in the first place? Like, let me play a map for 2 minutes, and I'm going to say no.
The numbers say yes. The numbers
go play Gospel again.
The numbers
because
say
the numbers
yes.
say yes. The numbers say this is why we like TF2.
No,
and, I hate to say that, but that's true. That's why.
But then the problem is we don't have
draw, right? That's the only.
Well, we don't have data against it, because again, this is like, it reminded me of the stream you were doing recently, Zesty, where you were talking to that guy who made the phony land map or whatever.
Yeah.
Where it's like, we're going to point to this argument of like, oh, this is what works. We have the data to show this works. And it's like, yeah, but where is in contrast, where's like the trad TF2 map that's been added recently? Or like, where's the trad style TF2 update where we only get like one item, and, we don't have the control data of what it would look like to do things otherwise. So I don't like this whole narrative of like, it's working, they're getting the data that it works. It's like, yeah, but this is the only thing they do.
Yeah, exactly. If you're only doing that, naturally it's going to be biased towards, yes, this is the good thing, therefore keep doing it.
It's like people want updates. Any update is going to be an incentive to play, regardless of what's in that, even if there is no items. And like, even if it is a fun gimmick, like the whatever, like Soldier versus Demo Man type of thing, like, ooh, who's going to get the next update? Like those little twists are sometimes all it can take. Where I think that sort of thinking has been overlooked a little, where it has to be a map, it has to be a cosmetic or something. I don't know. Can you guys help me out?
No, let me think about that for a second.
I was just say, on the topic of what you were saying earlier, Casual, about competitive TF2. There's been like so much discourse over that over the years. Like, is TF2 a competitive game? Is there room for TF2 to be a competitive game? The developers have flip-flopped on that over the years. Like, there's old interviews where Robin says, if you play TF2 to get kills, if you play it to be super offensive, then you're an idiot. He said something like that.
Bro, like, fuck you, Robin Walker, dude.
And then later though, later they said that they were designing certain updates, especially with like comp in mind. And that's not just like meet your match. It's like, it seems like, especially, and I talked with Zesty about this once, after like StarCraft proved to, esports could be a huge financial success.
Oh yeah, they
gaming.
changed their tune.
Yeah, they talked about like unlocks were added partly out of a hope that they would be helpful to the competitive players, like that it would be a part of the strategy. Like, what do they have on their team?
Like the gloves of running.
Maybe I'll play the Force of Nature scout, and how do I react if the other scout has the Force of Nature? They talk about that in some of those early interviews.
And that too. And the gloves of running urgently is another good example of that. That was a weapon designed for competitive players, tested by competitive players, and then when they were added, they were rejected because it fucked up their normal way of play. And like, so that early on, once Valve realized, oh shit, there's a big, profitable future here, they started changing their tune with what TF2 was meant to be. But
one thing I will say though, Zesty, and this is where I'll push back on you a little bit, is TF2 definitely was meant to be more competitive than modern casual games are. There is supposed to be like a grind. There's supposed to be a back and forth to this game. There's supposed to be a feeling of push and pull.
Well, and that's why I
the
play
game is about
TF2.
Territory control, right? Like
it's called Team Fortress 2.
Yeah, that's why I don't fucking play the game just to like fuck off and do nothing and like bumble around the map and get like the occasional
Friendlies.
kill. Yeah, or like being friendly. No, I play the game to play the game. Like you're supposed to feel engaged with the gameplay and wanting more of that push pull, right? That's what the game is for, and that's why I enjoy it. But but like the casual, like
if you play it in TF2C or any old school maps in any old school TF game, you're going to see that there's meant to be that push and pull. That goes back to the 5 CP push maps from TFC, like Warpath. They have defeat sources like territory control. This is like the actual DNA and like roots that this shit comes from.
Yeah,
it's supposed to not feel like this fucking modern, just limp dick abomination.
Yes, because now what you get is you get theme parks. You get like your toy box just dumped out in front of you. It's not about the gameplay anymore. We're going back to this again. It's not about the gameplay anymore. It's about the novelty or what gets people excited on social media. It's like, oh my god!
The theme park is like a great analogy for it because it feels like you're on rails. It's like you queue into a game and the game is like on this very set trajectory. There's going to be these two matches that happen, and there's like. How can you be? It's like getting on a roller coaster that's going to last for 2 minutes. That's what playing modern TF2 feels like. It does.
Yeah, it does often because
it's on this very set trajectory. Oh, what part do I scream at? Is what you choose. That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that analogy because the games go so quickly and are so often steamrolls. You're just pretty much going to know how every game is going to go. Because you have that hard cap and you're not going to know how things could have been afterwards with something like a team scramble to keep things going. It's like, oh, well, on to the next one, get back in line, ride the ride again. And then every now and again, you get the one match that is imbued with the classic push-pull TF2 gameplay that does last a long time. And this is experienced on like 5 control point maps and also Capture the Flag, where those games, when they do go on indefinitely, it's like, okay, yes, this is why I play TF2. I love this. Like, I actually get to like really... experience the full, long, drawn-out war of attrition between these two sides instead of just getting rolled in 2.5 minutes. And then it just being done and getting in line again.
It's so weird, too, because in the big picture, if I think about the atmosphere of gaming when I was starting to play TF2, there was no sense that TF2 was like a long game in comparison to what else was going on. Because if you just think of MOBAs, you meet all these people who are like, oh yeah, what kind of games do you play? And they're into like League of Legends and Dota. And they commit to these like hour-long games even when they know they're gonna lose, and it's like already doomed 5 minutes in. Meanwhile, we can't play TF2 for more than like 7 minutes, and it's like too long. Like it's such a strange
even like Halo 3
scenario.
Halo 3 free for all is like longer than a modern casual game. It's like insane.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the video I made and the stats, the average length of your play session in TF2 across all game modes is around 10 minutes. Or rather, the median is around 10 minutes.
It's abominable.
And if you remove payload and Dust Bowl from that equation, like it drops to 8 minutes or less, and that is terrible. It is, and it's not like the brevity of the games is not inherently, or sorry, I should say, the brevity of rounds is not inherently a bad thing. It's the brevity of the entire time spent on the map and in the server.
Match.
Pass it to me. Pass it to me. Pass it to me in this ball game. Pass it to me, Zesty.
Well, I'll pass it to you because you're probably going to say the same thing I was going to say, just better.
Well, no, I was just going to say, like, the original essence of this game, and not just Team Fortress 2, not just like, let's talk about the art style, the original essence of Team Fortress as a game is completely lost. Where are the leftover Team Fortress Classic community members who still have some, notable voice in the Team Fortress 2 community today? They don't exist. You don't hear from, like, Captain Pussyfucker. That guy doesn't have a presence in the modern TF2 community.
This is crazy. This is a crazy appeal to, like, oldness.
This is run by, like, the leaders of the new school. It's led by people like fucking... And I'm not picking on anyone in particular, like Fish Stick on a Stick. How long, like, was Fish Stick on a Stick playing TFC? Was he playing Quake TF? No, these, like, more people have to move in because the original essence is not there for the people who cared about it, right? And that's why this is such an uphill battle. TF2 fans, and this is historic, you can look at this, it's actually more true than I realized. It's going to sound very, like, histrionic, but it is true. Real TF2 fans get bullied out of the TF2 community for having standards and having high standards for the game.
Thank you.
And they did that to Star.
Thank you.
In 2014, right? This is like, people say that 2014 was like the peak of TF2, right? I disagree with that. But they say that because that was like the last year that normies cared about that game, right? It was like, that was like Germa was still playing TF2. He actually shut down his servers that month, right? Or that year rather, like 3 months before Love and War came out. Which really everyone tells me, Love and War was the best update. And it's like, well, Germa was leaving by that point, and Star left a couple months later. Like this was clearly like the exit point. A lot of people realized that this game was whatever. Enough of that. My point I was going to make is that somebody like Star noticed that this game was not being valued, and he wanted to continue to have a career, so he went somewhere else, right? And as a kid, I had so much anger for Star. We talked about this in one of the other episodes. But really, when you grow up and you look at the situation he was facing, where they have all these, like Team Fortress has so much potential, and people like Star, people like what's that podcast? Casual, the competitive people,
the Fully Charged podcast,
the Fully Charged podcast,
hosted by Salamander and Seabear.
Yes, and Seabear, yes. I was listening to some of those. Those are interesting, but
they're awesome.
Yeah, those people had so much energy and excitement and input to give Valve about this shit, and they instead made manpower. They made just dog shit. They were just pooping shit out that nobody cared about. They were doing bonus ducks updates instead of anything that actually mattered. They weren't engaging or listening to their community in any meaningful way. And even back then, people like Star and Dane said, oh yeah, it seems like the people who play TF2 or people who develop this game don't even fucking play it, right? So that is the historical pattern here of the people who have said or made objections, they get left behind by this class of people who think it's cool to like not have standards.
Thank you.
And it's really upsetting. It's really upsetting.
Yeah, and this is something I want to talk about this now.
Go for it.
Because this strikes the nail directly on the head. It's this notion that
I told you to pass it to me for a reason, bro.
And so it's this notion that having standards and being passionate about something and wanting to preserve it is somehow bad. But then, at the exact same time, the people that are bullying those types of people outside of not only the TF2 sphere, but many other online gaming and media spheres as well, they're the ones that sing the praises of literally everything and anything new. And then if you're not also doing the same thing and marching in lockstep with this praise for whatever crap they're fed, then you get pushed out. I just don't understand why it's suddenly become so taboo and so wrong to have standards for something or to be passionate about something. Because like at the same time, in one ear, you hear them say, "Oh, why do you care? Why do you have standards for these things? Who cares?" And then in the other, it's like, "Wow, how could you ever hate anything good, anything new?" It drives me fucking insane. It's at the same time. It's at the same time. Why do you care? And then they really seem to care a lot about getting new stuff. And then if you also don't really care about just getting the new thing, then you don't care and you hate the thing you're engaging with. Where did this come from? Maybe you guys are more cerebral than I am when it comes to this topic. I've been like digging and trying to find a reason why this is happening. Why people are demonizing being passionate and having standards for something. Like where is this coming from?
Well, it's a broader like culture war thing with the internet in general, which is unfortunate. It's really dumb to me. What's really stupid to me about the current set of circumstances is that it's become like a political dichotomy analogy sort of thing, but it doesn't really make any sense on its surface, right? Because you would think that if how do I say this? If being like I don't want stuff to be done
pro quality control.
Well,
quality control.
Were you gonna say casual? I was gonna go something else.
I said pro quality control. I was trying to finish your sentence, but maybe that's not where you're going.
Where I was gonna go with it is like this point that if you oppose things being done to this, that means you're like not a progressive person. That's like by that fucking like logic, bro. Like being like opposing gentrification would make you a conservative. Like this is stupid. This is not how the real world works. And why am I seeing people who are like, like tax the rich people and like whatever, like this is upsetting that I'm even getting into this. I never intend to talk about anything like that, and I still don't intend to, and that's not what this is. But for those people to be like pro corporate like rape of art is just insane. It's like pants on head illogical. Like everything is fucking
it's immensely hypocritical because these are the ones that like decry and say, well, no, the art style's fine, the tone of the game is fine, everything's okay. But then they're completely what you just said, where they can't even understand how the original form of this product or game or piece of media, what have you, has been completely undone and shit on by the corporation. And they're all for it.
Let me tag in here because I think one succinct way we could describe this
being a
conflict
progressive means
too.
accepting. Everyone knows that being like a good Stalinist, right? That means that you accept. You have to be being progressive means that you are accepting of what capital does to art and what capital does to the world. That's what that means, and that's fucking really smart.
Let me sound off this point, because I think the attitude of a lot of art culture wants to be, very simply put, pro art and like encouraging of people's creative works, right? And so the very basic spirit of this is like, hey, if somebody does something creative and generative, we lean to the positive to say, it's great that you did this, rather than doing nothing at all, right?
Yeah,
and so the problem with this is that this, yes, let's celebrate it, and as we should. However, this same sort of thing can start to come up as basically a counter for criticism, and also something that makes criticism impossible, right? So I'll say, as somebody too that's like, I would say, been around a lot of like artsy circles, usually underground music circles, for like 15 years or something, you get these kind of spaces that are really cool because they are open to
Casual, I just gotta say
all
really
forms
quickly,
of creation.
just so I
Please
don't
let me finish it. Please.
I was just gonna say your light seems awesome, and that's all I have to say.
Okay. Thank you for the shout out. In these spaces, you have an attitude towards openness, which is fantastic, because it basically makes it okay for anybody to make whatever kind of art they want, and to like do things and experiment and break rules, which is necessary for the process of innovation. But what you can find sometimes, or what I find sometimes in these spaces that felt a little hollow, is that there isn't much of a dialogue of actual criticism, or for like, and criticism is a loaded word because people think it has to be rooted in negativity, but basically, how can we actually improve things? How can we make them better, right? You get a lot of like, oh, nice set, man. Oh yeah, that's really cool, the art they did. Like, it's all very positive, which is great. But what you can find is that it's missing a little bit of the disciplinary edge, like this idea of impulse control, right? Which is like, okay, level one is like, let's just make stuff. It is okay to make stuff, like, and it's a good thing. Like that opens things up when the attitude has become too constrictive, right? And anti-art. And then at a certain point, once that valve, so to speak, is open, then it's a matter of like the refinement. Like, okay, now it's not just enough to like make something, but how do we make something good, right? And this is also like in the natural progression of a creative person. So it tends to be that like the art spaces are more young people. So it's also something that they are wrestling with as time goes on. But the problem tends to be that it can become stagnant when basically it's like too much of this sort of hug boxy energy of like, oh, if you did something that's great, and I'm not going to tell you anything bad about it, and nobody's going to tell anybody bad about anybody else's thing. There isn't that idea of discernment. And so I think that same defensive impulse comes up these days when we talk about games or media or whatever, and we have like a critical attitude, because frankly, I think there has been broadly a decline in the quality of culture and media. Even if you just think it's a small amount, I'm going to make that argument. And so when that happens, when you raise voice to that, it's almost like you can be interpreted as a person now who is just anti-art or anti-creativity or something.
Yes.
Which is not the idea. It's the idea of like, well, no, we are, it's very pro art and pro creativity, but we want there to be consideration for what actually makes it good, because that's the thing, right? It's like
there's been something beautiful as that so many times.
Yeah, you can go off if you.
Well, no, I was just gonna say I've been painted as that so many times ever since I started making my videos and streams that are more critical of what's being added into this game. And this is what has happened to the TF2 workshop. There is no refuting this. It is exactly what you've just described, where it is this very insular creative space where all of these people are kind of gassing each other up and like just doing a bunch of creating without really having any stronger eye for criticism and actually thinking about whether or not this is something that is genuinely appropriate for the game that the items are being made for, right? Like no one's really considering these things or taking any kind of criticism to heart. And they really didn't have that ever in the game's history until I started making a stink about what's getting put in the game. And almost immediately, once I started doing this, and then at a wider scale, more people, at least vocally, started being more critical of what's getting put in the game. Instantly, I start getting painted as someone that is like anti-creativity. I just hate fun. I don't want new things. I just hate creation.
There's a problem with that,
so on
right?
and so forth.
It's like saying,
and then, but like, and I just want to finish. Like, that couldn't be further from the truth. I want people to keep making good things for this game. Like, the point is that they need to be good. They need to be appropriate for the game's tone, theme, stylization, art style, so on and so forth. I'm broken record. Same thing has been saying for years
sometimes,
now.
And sometimes that shit is just made out of spite. Sometimes, like
no, and that too, right? Like, some of those things are just made out of spite because, you know, they refuse to listen to any of the criticism. They can only view it as a bad thing. They view criticism as anti-creation and like, oh, I just shouldn't have done this in the first place. Like, no, you just have to, you know, be a bit more careful with your thought process here and your creative process. Like, I'm not saying don't make things. Just be a little bit more deliberate with what you're doing, and you're going to make something really good.
You're not just drawing on like a sketchbook. You're not drawing on a sketchbook and like I'm walking across the room to come tell you that it looks shitty and you should like kill yourself or something. That's not what's happening. It's like and you might have to say that for YouTube. I'm sorry.
I mean, I've said that about content that has like absolutely no path to redemption, right? Like I give constructive feedback where I can give it, but if an idea is a dud, it's a dud. There's no saving.
No,
it,
my point was like it's not this isn't like I'm walking into like your creative writing room and looking at your draft and saying, wow, you just fucking suck at this. Like, no, you're making this in like a place that people, there's 1,000 places. I said this on your streams, SD. There's 1,000 places you could go make a source engine roller coaster map. And nobody would get mad at it. And by the way, I don't even think Phonyland is that like horrible of an example. Like there's like worse shit than that in TF2.
Oh,
I thought it was kind of crazy. It felt almost a little targeted that everybody went after that map in particular. Because
I explained why.
Any Halloween map, any Christmas map is like just as egregious to me.
No, but, sure.
That doesn't make it cool, you know. But
no, yeah,
still.
And I explained why.
I think for that guy who came on your stream, he was like seemed nice.
No, Zyeth is a really chill guy. He's a very talented workshopper. But there's two things I want to say. And I already forgot the first one because I'm an idiot. The point that there's been worse things added into Team Fortress 2, that is absolutely true. I mean, look at Whatville, any Christmas map, any awful Halloween map, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I think people got super focused on Phonyland without even, I didn't even say anything. Like, people were already, like, targeting that map. People blame me. Not actually true. People were getting fed up with it the instant it was released. Like, I think it just came to a head. People are really tired of, like, the cycle of just whatever random crap that seems like fun and gimmicky and novel just getting selected and put into the game as being, like, the centerpiece for these updates. When people just really want something that is more carefully curated, you know, that abides by some better standards, as a lot of people are asking for. And then, like,
take a second to say something real quick.
Oh, I just want to let me close out this thought. It's like, okay, we already know what's coming. Here's the summer update, and the same people are making yet another gimmicky centerpiece map. Like, oh, great, we don't want this. Please give us something that's a little bit better. We don't want this, and that's why people exploded all over it.
Yeah, and I want to just say this because people, I guess this doesn't get said much, and people assume that it's like assume the opposite. Like, I don't think it's cool to go like fuck with people making TF2 maps or something. People can make bad maps, people can make good maps. You vote with your votes. You don't like go out of your way to insult and like make 5 million videos about how this random map some like Brazilian kid made is actually Hitler when there's like already
no one does that. No one does that. That's the thing. That's not something that happens. There's not like 5 million videos attacking this.
No, Zesty, I'm not trying to hand wring. I'm just saying like that I think that goes like unsaid, right? And people assume
it goes
that,
unsaid and it doesn't happen. Yeah, it goes unsaid and it doesn't happen.
I'm just trying to make sure that it gets said, you know.
So but here's the thing: I do say this. Like, I say, don't go out of your way to be assholes to anyone that makes anything. Like, I reiterate this all the time whenever I'm speaking about items that could be potentially added into the game. I maintain that consistently. Thing is, no one else says it because no one else with a voice really talks about these things. So. But, like, it should just be assumed that, like, okay, you're not going to go out of your way to be a dick, but it doesn't matter who's telling someone to not do it. The assholes are going to be assholes anyways, and it's a shame.
Loving TF2 doesn't have to be a negative thing.
And it's been painted to be a negative thing. Right? It's been painted to be a negative thing. To be passionate about TF2 and wanting some better standards, it's been painted to be a bad thing, which is so immensely frustrating. And this goes back to what I said earlier about being passionate about something is now bad. Like, oh, you care about this thing, you're excited about it, and it's fun and cool to mock people that have standards and passion about something. Like, I get openly mocked for caring about the game's direction. Like, it's cool to not care about anything. I don't understand how we've come to this point where it's cool to not care.
that's like a teenage kind of attitude that's been around for ages. You know what I mean? I think you just might be at the receiving end of that.
Not really, okay. Not nearly as like when I was fucking growing up. That was nowhere near as bad as it is now. Maybe a little bit, like some people. Yeah. But it was more so like a targeted bullying of something you didn't understand, or a targeted bullying of something that you yourself weren't into. But I'm talking about people that have no passions, that have no drive, and no strong desire to pursue something.
You're especially in touch with those people now because you are basically triggering them by speaking on behalf of like there being a sense of quality control and preservation for the tone and atmosphere of what is added to this game, right? Sure. So it's like I think it's going to feel like for you that it's a you are just most in touch and seeing that sort of thing, you know, and I want to speak broadly too about the phenomenon here of like why this does upset people like you, or why you're passionate about it, or why other people are raising concern about, you know, what type of thing is made. Because we say a lot like a good map, a bad map. I think it's again kind of unsaid that there's good and bad in terms of quality of like when you look at a map and you say, was this done professionally? Was this done by somebody with a lot of experience? Is the theme of the map consistent? Does the flow feel comprehensible? And all that doesn't have to do with the tone appropriateness of the map. And I think that is where the nuance has gotten lost a little bit, where it's like there can be something that was made with a lot of love and even expertise and mastery in its own way, but the pain that I'm going to say that people like us might feel is that it's getting away from TF2. And it's not just that it's getting away from TF2. It's like we are missing the sense that there is energy to create things that are honoring the core spirit of TF2, which is why we're making TF2 things at all in the first place, right? It's almost like if there was a healthy dose of energy in that more custom community that was like falling in line with the original vision of TF2 and wanting it to fit with that version of the game, I feel like there wouldn't be as much of a such a like allergic response when we do have these other maps that are much more experimental in their tone and atmosphere. And I think if we think of like the original community maps that were added to this game, like in the first handful of years, I feel like they really did that well because you had the sense that maybe the creators were trying to like their goal is to have it fit in with what's already actually made by Valve for TF2, like those original few years of Valve maps. And of course, like any artist who's trying to emulate the thing that they're going after, or like the artists that inspire them, even if they try their best, probably they won't actually be able to copy it perfectly because there's like a part of their essence that seeps in too, right? And that's part of what's cool about like the people inspiring each other over time and all that. And I just feel like you could sense that in some of those early maps, like a turbine or like a pipeline or something, where it's like, okay, this fits well with the atmosphere of the existing game. But you can also maybe, if you dig into it, see how it's not a Valve map, because it's like they were aiming for that.
Pipeline is a Valve map.
Okay, Nightfall. Take Nightfall then.
Is it Nightfall a Valve map?
Nightfall is not a Valve. It's made by a Norwegian man. It's not a Valve map.
Okay, Nightfall then.
Nightfall then.
But even Nightfall is like super solid, right?
But that's my point. Is it's even for me. I remember there's a lot of years where I couldn't even discern which ones were community and which ones weren't in some of those like old maps, and I feel like that has been lost.
Yeah,
you know?
Now it's very easy to tell. Now it's super
like when's the last time there was a like so many of the maps that have been added that I think have that old school, and I hate calling it old school, but just like the true TF2 kind of style. Are also really old maps. Like they'll add in. It's like there's so many of the 5 CP maps now in the game.
Yeah,
yes, Heart's ancient.
Bro, I have a challenge for anybody who's like a mapper who's doing this shit. Go download a build of Orange Box TF2, 2007, 2008 TF2. Actually, don't even do 2008, just 2007. Make a map out of only the textures in that fucking build of the game. Because I've done it and it's really fun. It's really cool. I've been fucking around with a bunch of different silly mapping shit in my spare time, and
I feel like that's what we want. We want to see it.
How simple it is to make something that feels like TF2 when you only work with the actual fabric of TF2 of the core fabric. It's really easy. It's almost you do it on accident just because you're. There's no red herrings, right? So
yeah. Here's the thing: they also do that there are mappers that do make the classic TF2 feel maps, and the problem, and I called them out on this, is that when it comes to their efforts as to what they want to like push to get in the game, it's almost overwhelmingly the ones that don't fit in the game that they push and make the promo material for, and make the YouTube videos more, and get hyped up on social media. They've never once done that for a classic style TF2 map they've made, and I called them out on that.
And their idea of a classic TF2 map is also super distorted and fucked up. It's like, you read that on your stream, right? You remember that? You remember that that thing I sent you while you were on stream? Fucking the flashback. Put the like dream ARP noise when you play that.
Yeah, I'll play that. But wait, what'd you send me again? What was it again?
When you were talking about Phonyland, I did like I sent you a thing and you read it as like a monologue. I wanted to say that little monologue that you went on for you reading what I sent you there.
Oh, in regards to that existing TF2 map that like just kind of feels like a copy, like it's trying to emulate the map and not really striking at the core, but just playing off of that, Richter, but like just asking for that to be like the minimum of what we're looking for. Like even that is something that they still make. Like there's plenty of those maps that they still continue to make. It might not 100% capture like the true original deep feel of a TF2 map, but it's better than fucking Phonyland. It's better than Embargo and Aquarius and all these other shitty maps, right? Like even just those maps, they don't choose to push. They don't push those. They don't advertise those. And when asked why, I caught out Zyth on this, and they're like, well, they didn't have an answer. They just push what Valve adds. It's an
experiment to them. It is an experiment to them, and so they don't want to, that's
to them it's a risk. Yeah. It's like that's not what works.
And this goes back to what we were saying earlier of like, oh, we don't have the data, we don't have the sample size of trying something different to see if it works. They just keep sticking with what gets added into the game, and they get paid for it. Like that's the working formula. Naturally, they're going to stick to it. They're not going to take the risk to push a map that isn't another Phonyland or an Embargo or an Aquarius or what have you. Which is so frustrating because they do the work. They make the work and make these they make the better work. Effort. And there is a lot of effort there. And they try to have that more, deliberate and discerning eye for making these classic style things, but they don't give it the same level of care and attention. And it blows my mind as to why people would love if they did that and they don't.
Yes.
What I said was that, please, Casual, please. What I said is, I said the workshop is not the place for people who have earnest passion in creating TF2 content. That was like the most salient thing I think I said there. That I got reached out to by somebody who's a TF2 modder, who I won't name. I don't want to like get him in trouble. And they were like, I like resonated with that so much when you said that on that stream. They said that's why they don't make things. They slow down working on stuff on the workshop. It's not fun anymore. It's like an algorithm popularity contest with clicks, and this is their words, okay? Clicks and cool kids clubs, with the barrier of entry increasing as Valve constantly adds the same people's things. God, does it all suck the fun out of the workshop. I wanted to make stuff out of passion for a game I love, and because I wanted to make a mark on a game that I loved primarily. When the fun stops, the making things also stops. You dropped a truth orbital strike in a single chat comment for me. So that is a truth nuke, okay?
That is a truth
thing. Remember, that comes from a TF2 modder.
It is not the place.
That comes from a modder.
That is not the place, bro. That is not the place to be having cool, earnest, like, let's separate ourselves from all the bullshit creativity for TF2. It's not the workshop. That is not the place for that.
No, because remember what the workshop was made for. The workshop was made to offload the work from Valve onto the player so they can get a paycheck. The number one
fucked up, isn't it?
incentive.
It's fucked up, isn't it?
The number,
it's like a human shield.
There is no refuting this. What I'm about to say, there is absolutely zero refutation to this. The number one motivation to uploading something on the workshop is getting paid. Full stop.
It's optimized around that, if nothing else, right? Like that's the what other ecosystem? If there's money to be made, people are gonna game it. That's like just the world,
Absolutely.
Like we can't be stupid and pretend that that's not how the fucking world works, right?
Yep.
Like, let's just be honest, okay? And it's like that's great, right? Like there's joy to the fact that like you can make stuff for a game you love and you can get paid off.
And get paid. Awesome. That's wonderful. And that's a great motivator to get people to do the work for Valve, right?
Yeah. The thing that bothers me about that dynamic is that Valve, and this is horrible. This might be bad. This might be. If you guys let me know,
you can say it. We can cut it.
Maybe this needs to be cut. I don't know, but like Valve uses their community members as like a human shield from one another, and they disguise their like corner cutting and their cost cutting as like philanthropy. So like a community update where a few people a community update where a few people walk away with a couple $1,000s for doing the job that a full team would have been paid hourly wages at one of the best paying companies in the world at, like, that's cost cutting. That's like fair to criticize, right?
I have been beating this drum for years.
If you oppose the model that they have here or their effects, it's not right that gets equated to like you're trashing your like fellow man, right? Like and I'm sorry to say this, it is lower quality because it's not professionals. Like the people who made TF2 were professionals that were great, but like lower quality, community sourced, hobbyist content that's made for cheap, trumping salaried professional work because it's less effort for the people who collect the revenue. I don't like that. That's like being posed as if you don't agree with that, then you're just like being mean to the hobbyist. That is why I say it's like a human shield. It's like the enshittification of this game is something that everybody should have a lot to consider with, because the smartest people in the world, and this is going to sound insane, right?
I'm ready.
The smartest people in the world work at Valve.
Yep.
You know? That's why problems like the bot crisis don't get fixed or solved until it looks like things are about to be catastrophic. And then suddenly something magically moves to stop it, right? Valve is not so stupid that they can't see these problems. They're smart enough to know that they're smart enough to know that the game servers of TF2 don't matter a millionth as much as the item servers do. They know that even if the public servers are an unplayable wasteland, their players will move to underground like club scenes like Uncle Topia is like the analogy I would use. So as long as they can bring their like NFT item inventory token that allows them to show everyone their Killstreak Strange Australian weapons and renamed painted unusuals, then they're fine with that. That's fine. And that's why it doesn't matter to them. So, and I think and this is something I can give you guys just because I was working on Gold Rush and I got to see a little bit of this. Well, working is like a interesting word to use there, but the TF2 SDK in particular really showed their priorities with that very blatantly, because they talk about in the guidelines for those SDK mods, like how you can, and yes, you can bring your inventory to other mods. And that's like a kind of a fundamental misunderstanding of why the original communities that formed around those early TF2 mods liked those mods in the first place, right?
Yep.
It was a stripped TF2. I talked about this a little bit in my video I'm working on, but like, it was a little bit of new, but mostly a lot of old because it was built from 2008 leaked source code. Anybody who was playing a mod built from 2008 leaked source code, they knew that it wasn't going to have as much content as modern TF2. So the bar it was different then, right? Now that it's come to Steam, you see the like more modern TF2 player base, and it's exactly like we were saying earlier, right? Like they are the statistic of Valve of like, well, these people care more about the economy and their items and their item token shit than they do the game. I saw that firsthand. There was this video, somebody was trashing TF2C, and they were complaining that TF2C has less content than TF2, and they were like, here's what TF2 is really, and I'm sorry to the guy who made this video, because this is kind of mean. The video is fine. I'm not trying to be mean to this guy in particular. He could probably figure out what I'm talking about, that video. He's like, this is what TF2 is to me. This moment on Harvest where I saw a guy across the map, and I did my Yeti taunt, and I beat my chest at him, and then he did the Yeti taunt, and he beat his chest at me. And I was thinking, like, okay, so the TF2 is like, this is the dopest moment ever. I paid money, and he paid money, and we both looked at each other, and we both paid money, and it was awesome. I was like, this is insane, man. This is what you people get out of this game. I'm like fucking gonna. It's upsetting, right?
It's not about the game anymore. It's about the toys. It's the game has been this way for many years.
I don't even know where I was going with that, but. The game being great at first was not an accident or like a fluke. Smart people engineered this game. They worked around the clock to make it happen. The game, so that was not an accident, and the game becoming one of the most like thoroughly, shamelessly commodified games in history was not an accident or a fucking fluke either. That was also intentionally engineered around the clock by very intelligent people. Like corners were cut intentionally, like a certain framing's established. This is not an accident. You can actually, hold on. I might have something you could throw on screen here, Zesty, that I think people are going to be like quite shocked to see. Check out this screenshot, and you tell me what this means.
Focus on the persistent customer value. We want long-term happy customers, all of whom can pass the regret test. So
look at the picture. What does this picture mean? Look at the elements of this. Casual, you're an artist. Break this down.
Dude, I love
break down the symbolism here. What's going on here?
I love the regret test because I immediately hone in on what that is. It's passing whether or not they regret having just spent the money on the virtual item. Whether or not they're going to keep doing it and they can get past that regret to keep doing it over and over again.
Here's another one, by the way.
Let users make value for each other. Enlist the internet to fight to make your product even better. Oh man, does that harp on everything you've just said about Valve using their own players as a human shield? Oh my god, because that's exactly what's happening right now.
Thing, right?
That's
because like it's not that there's not good value, right? It's not that there's not good value coming out of this. I've read the old, like I've listened to old Critscast interviews, and like I've read the shit with like the early community contributors. And everyone was so excited for it because you would hear these stories like whoever made this item early on, like you would read some interview where they'd be like, yeah, Valve really helped me. Like my grandma had cancer and we weren't able to pay for the treatment, and I got $50,000 for making like a TF2 hat. It was insane, and I was able to cover my grandma's treatment. And you hear stories like that, and that sounds great until you realize this is like the equivalent of like outsourcing labor to like a third world country for Valve. Like actually, because if they had somebody else make these hats, they'd have to keep them on a salary, and they'd have to like, let's keep this guy happy. Let's make sure that he's, he doesn't go on strike or whatever the fuck, right? And so what's really happened here is Valve has built a company that is optimized to push creatives out of their machine so that it can run with as few of them as possible. And what they did here with the community and letting the community, basically make the content for themselves is a part of that. It's like greasing the engine or greasing the gears to be just the exact pieces necessary to generate maximum revenue.
Yeah, it's max profit because
so,
and to
that's
put
why I say it's a human shield, because it's like, okay, if you oppose Phonyland, you're opposing that story of that guy whose grandma had cancer, and it's like, well, fucking no, that's not what this is. That's like saying that's like if I went into what's like an analogy, like go to Puerto Rico and there's people who are doing like remote medical checkups for super low money, and I'm like, this is fucked up, and they're like, well, what, you opposed them getting a bag? And it's like, no, you fucking idiot. Like,
well, no, and that's what it's spun on time and time again. Whenever you try to criticize something that's put in this game, is, oh, you hate the person that made it, you don't like them, etc. It's like, no, that's not the problem here. And it's so
exactly.
and to put all of this into simpler terms, just to kind of summarize everything Richter just said. Valve offloaded all of the work onto their own players for pennies in comparison to what they would otherwise be paying for full-time employees, with all their salaries and their benefits and their bonuses, saving literally millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars by this point in time, with how long they've been doing this, potentially billions because like imagine if they had full-time professionals that created everything that we have in TF2 right now. Every map, every hat, every unusual effect, every taunt, every skin, everything. Imagine how much money they would have needed to pay even one professional person to create all of that for TF2. Think about the sheer volume of money that they saved and earned by offloading all of that work onto their player base, all of their fans, and paying them a mere fraction that they would have otherwise been given to other people. And the best part is they don't even withhold taxes. You still got to pay taxes on everything you get. So it's even less. Yeah. Valve doesn't even need to meet taxes or social security on the shit they pay to their people. The people that are in the workshop, right? And then like if you dare open your mouth and criticize like anything that Valve puts in this game, and like I say this time and time again in my videos, like Valve just copies and pastes shit they don't even make into the game, and then like if you point that out and get upset about the quality of the shit that they just copy and paste and make literally tens of millions on a year for a mere tiny fraction, infinitesimal fraction of the total amount of revenue given back to the people that made these things, right? If you criticize that, the blame is immediately thrown back at you by making you out to be the bad guy for hating the creative process or like hating new content or hating the game, when it's like, no, that's none of this at all. All of this shit lands at the feet of fucking Valve and them not having higher standards, and we want higher standards. And then of course we're also gonna get upset at the people that are gaming the system. Like we mentioned a while ago, this system is deliberately set up to absolutely, streamline this process of offloading the work onto non-employees and giving them money. That's what the workshop was made for. So don't be surprised when we get upset at people gaming the system when we're the ones being sold the mediocre product. Like, of course we can be critical of both ends of this. Of course, but more so that belongs on Valve. But like, that's the fucked up situation we're in. And then you're absolutely right. Valve is so I wonder how many people they have on the payroll that is specifically work to maintain their optics and maintain their image, because all of this was so deliberate and by design, and it works out for them time and time and time again.
Now you see why I brought up the Rick May thing. Now you see why I brought up the Rick May thing.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, man.
Exactly. And I'll finish my rant in 1 second. But like, you just have to think about, even now, you're going to have people listening to this, and in their mind, they're going to be angry. They're going to be upset that we're saying these things about Valve. Well, Valve is this great company. They do so much. They have these great products and services they would never do. That's exactly what they want you to think. They have spent years. They have spent years and guaranteed millions, hundreds of millions, probably paying people to manufacture and curate that image so you think exactly how they want you to think. And you know what it does? It makes them the most profitable game company in fucking history, making $17 billion in 1 year, blowing every other game company out of the water. And how did they achieve that? With everything we just said.
It is not just one of the most efficient like corporate gaming companies. It's one of the most like efficient corporations in human history.
Yep.
They make more money per like they make over $1 million in an hour. Like that's actually true.
Yeah. It's more than that now, because remember that statistic is now multiple years old. So it's probably even more money than that now. Multiple millions of dollars an hour.
You know, you went on a tirade, and I'm gonna deliver the nutrients, okay? Because I've been.
So like on my delivery was a bit anemic for the common listener. By all means,
no,
give us the nutrients.
I have more nutrients I can deliver. That's all.
More nutrients.
This system is basically, it's designed to push out as many creative people from that company as possible, so it can run with as few of them as needed. It completely substitutes their work with fan labor from people who are essentially just happy to be simply glanced on by a giant. Like, do you think like let's ask ourselves? We've all looked at how insanely overinflated, like and such a scam some of the stuff in the Manco store is, right? Like the class packs where it's like $50 for 14
or like
cents
$100 right? Or something ridiculous like that. Yeah.
So you think to yourself like, oh, if you made $20,000 for the home wrecker, and that's probably not the actual figure. I have no fucking idea how much Rob Laro got paid for that. I have no idea. But just as a figure, Valve has definitely made more money than that off of the home wrecker. Since the home wrecker was added, like obviously, like way more than that.
Fraction of a percentage,
right? And but because you're like a college kid who's making, you know, this literally begins with like they go to like Polycount and people who are making like fan mods, and they find a way to commodify it. They approach like, oh, you made an Elvis hat for heavy. That's funny. Let's add that for money. Oh, there's like a system. There's like a culture here that we could be like monetizing. That's like where this begins with, right? It's like Valve preying on their community a little bit. But I wanted to specifically, as a nutrient here, I'll give you a timestamp here, and I want you to insert it. I'll read what he says, and you can just replace what I say out loud with the actual clip.
Sure.
Robin says, our comics are done by a writer working on the side in the margins, essentially, while the rest of the team is building the rest of the actual critical pieces of the update. And our writers have even found that they can go out and find high-quality artists in the community who have been doing great fan art to get and bring them into the process of building the comics and doing the artwork for the comics as well. Getting comics down to the point where it's really just the cost of a single writer. So the implicit wording from Robin here pretty much outlines that they use fan labor to minimize costs as low as humanly possible, to where people might as well not be getting paid relative to the full-time employee writer working with them. What implication is there other than that they're getting the cost down by using fan art so that it can be just the cost of a single writer? They're basically implying they're subtracting, like they're saying that the whatever they're paying these contract fan artists is it's nothing compared to a full-time employee. It's
all
exactly
of it amounts to, and that's the crazy part, all of that amounts to one writer. One and a
by the
writer.
Way, that's true. All of the comics
writer.
are done by contract artists. All of like the fan artists who do some of the comic stuff. They also moonlight as like Rule 34 artists and shit. This is like true. I've like dug into this.
It's true. Yep, it is. And
Zesty would know.
Oh, no, I don't.
You've seen all of his stuff.
No, the shit that those people draw. No, I don't vibe with that. But when it comes, this is the thing.
This is why I said this. No wonder they're using AI art for Deadlock when their system is built to push creatives out of their fucking company so it can just be this core machine that runs Steam.
Yep.
Okay, that is what Valve is. So of course they're going to experiment with AI art. And what's really like a black pill here, I want to send something really quickly. There's like really obvious AI art in Deadlock. There's tons of it. You can find it in it was on their like Steam banner at one point. I remember seeing that. But there's a post where someone screenshotted like very, very obvious AI art. Here, I got the link here. And just said, "Is this AI art?" And you'll see the top most updated kind of response is like, "Well, as a fact, they would never do that." And they're like looking at like obvious fucking AI shit. And they're going, "Well, I know." They believe Valve's PR. They believe Valve's PR over their own fucking eyes, bro. It's like insane. It's like,
yeah,
how did they even do this? It's insane. I don't know how you cook the numbers this hard. It's like it's an unwinnable game for whoever goes up against Valve.
It's the long game. They've been playing this long game of building up this infallible, galvanized, and just shining image of like, oh my god, Valve would never do that. They would never do these things when, as I've been saying, they're just not that much better than your average game company. They just look better.
And the Valve of today, I feel like, is so different from the Valve that made TF2.
Oh, of course. Like, it's not even comparable.
Passed.
It's not even the same company. You can't even begin to compare Valve of today to Valve of 2004. It's impossible.
I will say, too, I lament that there was never at least the consideration, and I think this is the real stab in the back, that they couldn't at least keep somebody around as kind of like a funnel to curate a bit. Right. That's right. What comes in from the community, or just to like literally, if they just had one person who had a sort of art direction background who could like basically keep things, like have a quality control for things, or just do like little adjustments, because it amazes me sometimes what is added, where I just wonder, like, dude, if they had one person actually looking at what's being added and with some discernment to be like, okay, this light needs to be adjusted, this isn't quite there. Like I made a video kind of teasing Cashworks when it was added to the game, which of course is a very old map, but it was just crazy to me how many oddities and inconsistencies with the lighting and the textures, and just how there were some things that were so obvious to like clean up if you were trying to package it professionally, and probably the map hasn't been touched for God knows how long. But there's nobody actually doing that, you know? So it's like, okay, I get we're outsourcing all of the creative work, but it's even to the point where things just get added with bugs, things get added. Like there's no level of, oh, you're doing the work and we're just going to like put a Band-Aid on it on the end and ship it. Which to me, that's where, you know, they really don't give a fuck. Cause it's like, okay, it's one thing to be greedy, but that's like really...
I just want to punch in one more thing about that Deadlock thing. You have, and I can send you the examples for the Zest if you need.
Please do. Like send them all in the chat. I can put them on screen so people don't think we're just blowing smoke up their ass.
There's multiple instances of developers, people at Valve, people who work on Deadlock, people who just are writers, etc. Like openly discussing about how they have used and experimented with AI for writing code, for writing actual dialogue, for making art. And you see, think about this Reddit post I just sent. This very clearly like AI assisted artwork, AI generated, whatever the fuck you want to call it. The top reply, these fans overwhelmingly are believing Valve's like their PR over their own eyes. Like that's not AI. Valve would never use AI. It's like you caught someone's hand in the cookie jar and you tell yourself, oh, that's not real. They would never do that. Like, what do you call that other than like fucking Stockholm syndrome, bro?
Religion.
Like, can we be real? Like it's
Volvo,
cute. Look at they like gave him a pet name like Volvo would never use AI, and you're like looking at them.
It's like, literally religion. You have people believing it. You have cute. Like.
New thing. Put this on screen. This is legendary. This goes in the video right here. Boom. There you go.
No, yeah. I'll flash. I'll put that on screen for like one frame. But no. What else do you call this other than religion? Other than if you can,
the new god, I guess. I don't know.
If you can convince people to like, what's the word I'm looking for? If you can
convince, more popular than Jesus Christ.
I mean, if you can convince people to disregard what their own eyes are showing them and have them believe something that is the opposite, and have them believe something that is simply not true than what their eyes are being shown to them. It's a lie. It's okay. It's not even religion, because religion implies like faith or something that's a bit more
or a divine power
or something that's a bit more like morally grounded, right? What do you call this other than like a cult? Something that's more like cult-like mentality.
One more point of stress. You can look at the text and be like, well, that's not fucking letters, right? And you can look at the art and like notice that it looks fucking weird. I'm not the best trained on it. But like look at like not only is that people are like, oh, well, that's just one example. This is the Deadlock Reddit. This is the like official Deadlock Reddit. Somebody posted this as just a question. Does anybody think this looks like AI? They got downvoted. You'll notice it has 0 upvotes. It's downvoted. And the top reply that the community gravitated to was the guy saying, I know for a fact that's not AI. That's got more upvotes than the actual default post, even though it's complete fucking lunacy.
You can immediately tell it's AI. Like one of the main things to
hell?
look for is inconsistency in line thickness and weight, and this is all over the fucking place.
And just unintelligible text, unintelligible shapes.
Yeah.
And that's just it's
I will say too, regardless of is something AI or not or whatever, like there's definitely a disconnect between ordinary people and the people who run these companies, because it's almost like there's your proletariat type who is not working some 6-figure tech job, who probably, if they're young, might have a anti-AI leaning in their attitude. I feel like that's kind of normal. But then the thing is, within these companies, you either have people who are stoked about it, or you have people who work for these companies that are not necessarily stoked about it, but are being pushed to use it by their higher ups. And you hear this, I'm sure if you work for one of these companies, or you know anyone who works for one of these huge tech companies, you know that there is a push to use it, even when the employees on the teams don't even want to actually use it. Like there is this futurist intent, basically, to you can see it as a lot of things, because it's okay, you can see it as technological innovation, but there is also something to be said for replacing more of the labor they have with AI if they're able to. I'm sure a lot of these
billions of
companies
dollars
are trying to.
Valve is paying millions of dollars to figure this stuff out. They're hiring real world economists to make things easier for them for less effort on their end. Everything is intentional. You can watch the Steamworks talks. They talk about it openly. This is not a
there is no there's
obscured thing.
Yeah, this
they
isn't
talk about how
hidden.
75% they talk about openly, like, we monetize free players because they see people with hats and they want to get one, and they'll trade for it even if they don't spend money. It's like, I don't know, man. The way people talk about this just pisses me off. It really does.
And then what you're going to get...
It's exciting because I don't want to be pissed off. I love TF2, and I want to, like, I don't want to be mad about this game every day, and I don't want anybody to be mad about this game every day, because I love it, and it's really fun. It's, like, generated so much joy for me as a person. And it's been, like, there in times where I'm, like, pissed off in life, or even when you're just bored, when you don't know what to do. So
see, and what you're going to get...
Everything is intentional, though, right? It's upsetting. It's just upsetting.
Yeah, and what you're going to get even still is I know for a fact this is going to happen too. You're going to get at least several people in the comments on this saying, well, they earned that money. They deserve that money. Like, they did all these things. Why shouldn't they get paid? Like, why is this bad? The company is doing these things. It's great. It's actually, like, so you're going to see people trying to twist this into a good thing.
You know what? Let's focus on the fact that TF2 is a live service game, which right now, the Reddit thing, and I'm not even saying Reddit to say I disagree with it, but it is like a popular opinion that everybody rallied behind, was that live service games are a scam. Ross Scott did his whole thing with that. Like, these are a scam. You don't own this. This isn't, they can shut this off at any time, and you don't actually own this game, right? And they're literally pressing, like, legislation through Parliament right now to try to get something done about that, right?
Yep.
And I'm not being like, it's not me calling it a live service game. Valve said that this was a live service game. They were excited. They were proud. They said we're pioneering the live service game. I can dig this up for you if you need it, Zesty.
No,
yes,
send that to me. But I don't think anyone
say,
can refute that, like, Valve was the one that spearheaded the live service model with Team Fortress 2 as the test bed. They absolutely did this. Like, the gaming industry wouldn't be where it is today without Valve and what they did to TF2.
Yeah. And to say the fact that people can have the cognitive dissonance to be like, yeah, I support stop killing games. Games as a service are a scam. And I get you can cope. You can be like, well, technically, if the server's turned off, you could play Dust Bowl with all stock weapons. You would still be able to play. But, like, obviously, like 75% of the experience disappears, right? Especially now that the game is reliant on matchmaking servers and official servers, and that's the main experience, right? And like, I don't know. There's so much cognitive dissonance with this, with people, I think, and maybe with myself as well a little bit. I won't deny that. That, like, did we forget that maybe you can argue TF2 today is not pay to win? You can argue it a little bit. So, but even if you disagree that it is now, obviously there's, like, shades of gray. Like, it's not quite like you spend $5 to win. It's not quite like as bad as other games. But, like, that's not because Valve wasn't willing to cross that boundary. They just walked it back. Early on, Valve did outright introduce pay-to-win mechanics in Manconomy, and even, like, Total Biscuit had a video complaining about that and, like, calling it out. They said you're offering pounds for power or whatever, right? I remember that. That was very distinct to me.
I remember that video.
So I don't know where we get this idea that these people who are high up at Valve And I feel like people are almost scared to think that it might be somebody that like whose name they know. Like they're gonna assume it's gonna be some guy they've never heard of, like fucking Eric Johnson or something. But it's like Robin Walker took credit for Manconomy. Like he did a bunch of talks, he did interviews. He was like, I did this to this game and this is awesome, and we're gonna have pay to win mechanics. Like this happened, okay? It happened like fucking the Civil War happened, okay? Why are we erasing this? Why are we pretending this didn't happen? And it does. It bothers me.
What the
it
response
appeals to
is going
some
to be?
weird conspiracy in my head, some weird conspiratorial thing in my head where I'm like, okay, so who's on fucking Robin Walker's payroll? Because these people are billionaires. And I start wondering that, like seriously, and maybe that's like schizo, but I look around at like people when they hang out with Valve, they suddenly, you know, at first they do videos and like this game is obviously they don't know what the fuck they're doing and Valve is this fucked up thing, and then they reappear a couple months later and it's like they have this weird like pro Valve sentiment that emerges out of seemingly thin air.
Yep.
And I wonder,
That's
did you
something
get
I've
wine and
noticed as
dine
well.
like fucking Rich Geldrich? Is that
Dude, why else would they be invited to Valve? Why else would they
and
be
furthermore,
shown
why
a
are
good
they
time?
not wine and dining me? Why are they not wine and like
Well,
you can wine
so
and dine
the-
Zesty?
well-
If they would just
well,
wine and dine
Richter.
Zesty, everything would be over.
Well,
They
the
would have a
reason
monopoly
why,
on the world.
so like I actually have like some confirmation why Valve doesn't like me. It's because I showed how the sausage is made. I showed like the number one reason why Valve is pissed off at me, and this has been like directly confirmed by someone that like said that.
To be fair, that does mean that somebody broke the law, right? So I kind of get that.
Yeah, someone broke their NDAs and showed me the workshop revenue statistics, and that's why Valve hates my ass, is because I showed people how they make their money. And that's something they did not want people to know, because if people knew how they made their billions of dollars and how it just and how they engage in all the behaviors we've spent like the past half hour speaking about in terms of screwing over like potential employees and artists and giving away pennies on the dollar, of course it's going to make them look bad. So like, why would they ever want to wine and dine someone that's not going to be swayed? I already know what you guys do. Like we know how you operate. It's like you're like no amount of like no fucking goodie bag and pink cookie and like seeing where like people record the voice lines and like being given a little hint of like, oh, we're working on this. That might work for a lobotomized journalist. That might work for someone that doesn't really care about the game or where it's going or whatnot, but it's not going to work on someone like me that already knows everything else that you guys do. Like I get that.
Well, I will say this personal message to Robin Walker: Zell me $4 million, I'll delete my whole channel and disappear off the internet. So you can buy me. I'll get the fuck out of here. TF2 community fucking hates me anyway. I'll get the fuck out of here.
Zell user.
Add 2 zeros to that, and I might consider that offer.
TF2 is worth 40 million to you? That's
400. Give me 400 million. Give me that much money, and I'll consider it.
$400 million to make Zesty Jesus shut the fuck up for 5 seconds.
Yeah,
that's how this works.
And you know what that tells me? It tells me I'm a thorn in their side, which makes me kind of happy, a little bit, just a little bit.
Jesus Christ.
No, that's your role right now. You are playing a role in the.
I'm playing
TF2 community.
Really,
yeah.
I'm playing a role that no one else wants to play, and it just kind of happened to me. Like I didn't do this deliberately. It's just me making my videos and streams about caring about the game, and I just kind of ended up here. It's like, oh,
it was necessary that somebody plays this role,
and here I am.
Yeah. And here you are. You took on the burden.
Yeah.
Of being obsessed with
because I also love this game, man. Like Richter also, like Richter said, like I've also gotten I've experienced an inconceivable amount of good times from this game. I've met amazing people. I've made amazing friends. Like there's like parts of the world I would not have visited if it not for the people that I met through TF2. Like I have so much love for this game, and I only want what's best for it. And it's a shame that it's a shame that you can take someone like me that really cares about it and really just wants what's the best for it, and then it's like that's the pariah. Like that's like the bad guy.
How mad are you? How mad do you? How much room do you have to be mad at Star for leaving? That's the question I want to leave you with, Zesty.
I'm not mad at him for leaving at all. Like, why would
anybody who's listening, if you were mad, like I was mad, I was like, oh my God, he's leaving to this place shitty clone game. When you learn what the actual dynamics here are at play, how can you not understand that you have this machine that's pimping this out? The people who make it don't care, or they're not around anymore, and they don't value the people who are bringing them value, and they approach Star and they're like, hey, we actually care about what you're doing and we'll value you. You would take it too. Anybody would. Anybody would have. They would have checked it out. They would have at least tried.
Sure.
So basically, shout out to Star. He's the GOAT.
Yeah. the OG largest critical voice for this game that
That's true.
that left for good reason, and like you can't blame him for leaving. You can't.
I'm doing that revisionism because everybody hated it, and people like it was cringe when he cried in the video. Okay, well that's sort of true, I guess.
But listen, I can't even
call
that cringe, man.
True.
I can't even call that cringe.
Were all true, right?
Like God forbid someone get twisted up and emotional about something they deeply care about. Like heaven forbid someone get like upset to see this thing that they've deeply fallen in love with getting completely torn apart and bastardized in front of their eyes, and there's nothing they can do other than walk away. Like heaven forbid they feel a shred of emotion in that and shed a tear, as the people that they also believed were equally as passionate about the game as they were and wanted what's best for it turn out to just be fucking goblins that don't give a fuck and attack him for demanding
and you
better.
Get this thing I was just talking about, this workshopper guy DM me, and he's like, this is not a place for the creatives. Like, you were so right when you said that. That's what the result is, right? And you get this human shield thing where it's like, well, if it's Valve is taking it, and then you look at Valve and literally like the Dave Riller clip, he's like, well, the community voted for it. It's like, okay, so fucking hot potato, we raped the game. That's whatever.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's a constant passing of the buck to where there's no blame to be laid at anyone's feet because it's always moving. It's Valve's fault. It's our fault. It's Valve's fault. It's our fault. It just keeps going back and forth forever and ever.
Yeah, and then and then 10 years later we get Robin Walker's son El Mariachi. He's like telling what's that guy's name? Cypherlock. He's like, he's like, embargo is what TF2 was meant to look like. Put that clip in here. I feel like people don't know that happened.
For example, like embargo, a lot of people were complaining about embargo's art style, saying it was like too colorful, not for TF2, but like they got an email from Valve saying that, oh, this looks great for how we want TF2 to be like.
There's another clip. I'll give you the clips. Actually, I think I have them. Here. Here's the first one. Here's him saying that he's a Valve employee. The people who work on TF2 all believe that embargo looks great for how they want TF2 to look like. And they ask him, is there a chance of quick play being re-added or at least casual being improved? And the guy just does this awkward pause. Like, I can't say. I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know.
Well, and that's like the perfect corporate response of no. Like, they're not going to give. Valve does not give definitive answers for anything.
Chat says, Mariachi, is there any chance of quick play being re-added or at least casual being improved to help community servers?
I can't say. Sorry.
Oh, that's fair.
The same exact thing in 2011 when they asked Robin Walker, like father like son, they asked Robin Walker, am I going to be able to turn off the hats and paints? And he said, haven't made up my mind yet. That's a no, but I don't want the backlash of saying no.
Yep, exactly.
Great.
Yeah, and people
fantastic.
Yeah, and people are going to keep happily going along with this.
I can't believe people say that I just repeat what you tell me. That pisses me off because I fucking have put my heart into this, man. But whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, Richter, the thing is, man, like you haven't really been given an open venue. You have your channel, but you don't really like use it to talk about TF2, and this is the place for it.
That changes soon, I guess.
The world awaits.
The world awaits for this fucking magnum opus nuke that you've been crafting. Hey man,
I don't hype it up too much. I'm trying to make it good. I'm putting.
It is good. You showed me like big sections of it. It is good. I can't wait for it to come out. Like, do I have permission? Do I have permission to watch it on stream?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, because some people ask me to not watch their content on stream for fear of it getting tainted.
No, that's fine. But
will you permit me to taint your content?
I don't want to be a negative Nancy. People don't want to listen to like a super negative guy. I go on here and I can kind of let loose and be a little bit negative because it's like
it's okay. Like my God, it's okay to be negative, right? Sometimes you need a little bit of the black pill because it gives you the perspective of how things actually work. Right. And when you know how things actually work, you can have a more well-rounded thought process and actions in the rest of the world. If you're completely ignorant to these things,
is that it is true that surrounding yourself with negativity it's just not fun, right? It's
no, of course not. But there's balance to everything. But if you're only ever positive, it's like how could you ever have like a fulfilling life if everything around you is only positive? You're not being told about the bad things that are happening in the background that are directly influencing you, right?
Okay, but what can you take? What can you take out of this image other than the hats are a tree for money? Is that not what the imagery here is? Like,
100%.
I was waiting for Casual to say it, but like, what other interpretation is there here? It's a tree for money grows out of the fucking.
The money is the soil.
Yeah,
we all know it, Well, I think
but they don't know it. But do they? Do they know it? They're like, oh well, we did it to make people. It's for player expression, and so everyone can express themselves. Like, I've got a fucking bridge to sell you, you know? Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
No, yeah, the whole the player expression thing is another perfect example of like Valve using their own consumers as their shield. Because they and like Valve never even said that.
Human Shield, new meme in the Zesty Jesus community.
I like that. Yeah. This now I'm gonna have to give you some royalties on that.
Give this one to Richter.
This
Let him
one's
all
all
know
you.
that was Richter's analogy, but we give Zesty Jesus permission to inherit it.
No, yeah, that one's all you. But the idea that like, oh, cosmetics are like, oh, it's player expression, and then people using that as a defense for like allowing anything and everything to be added. That is exactly what Valve wants you to do. And like in the other image you showed, it's what is it? Let users make value for each other. Let the internet enlist the internet to fight to make your product even better. How is a product better in a company's eyes? When is a product better? Oh, it's when it's making them more money. That's how a company views a product. When it's more profitable, that's when it's better. So better does not listen, Richter, let me finish. So like better does not mean like an objective increase in its quality. It does not mean that like, oh, this product is now enhanced and more streamlined and more enjoyable. For a company, when the product is better, it is making them more money. So this is literally saying to you, this is literally saying enlist your customers to fight to make your product more money. That's literally what this says. Make your own customers fight to make you more money. And that's exactly what's been happening for so long now. When you have fucking retards, morons, lobotomites, ingrates, Neanderthals, slack-jawed halfwits saying the most...
And some of them are good people, I'm
saying
sure.
the most like resoundingly, dumbfoundingly dumb remarks of, well, they added this for player expression. No, they added it for your fucking... money, you goddamn moron. Like, holy shit.
Obviously,
and they like perfectly you are like sub 80 IQ. You are sub 80 IQ to let a fucking company influence your way of thinking to where now this company made so much effort to make you think that way. They influenced you to make you genuinely think, oh, it's for player expression, therefore it's okay. This is their intention. No, it's not. They made you think that way with very carefully curated behaviors and their public image, but that's not what they actually want.
They obviously hire experimental psychologists and real-world economists to help you express yourself better. Can we talk about that way? Hold on. By the way, hearing that they hire experimental psychologists, that sounds like they're running fucking MK Ultra in there. It's like insane.
Yes.
Like, they're like seeing how much LSD a TF2 player can absorb through the monitor. Like, what the fuck? Like, what are they?
It's definitely not for TF2.
They're literally psyoping their customers into doing all of these things, and making them turn a bigger profit.
And like, the worst part is that Uncle Dane is wrong about random crits. That's the worst part of it all. Like,
oh my god. Oh shit. And like, I think I don't know. But like, I guess to put a bow on all of this, it's like Valve is not the company that they've made you think they are. They're not. They're no better, and in many ways even more sinister than any other company that's active right now and making games and making money.
Yeah, actually, I got one more little monologue, which is like people hate, and this is real. This is anybody who's like a fan of TF2. TF2 is listening to this, which I imagine is everybody. Like, actually ask yourself if you're somebody who hates like Fortnite and you're like, look at that, and you're like, this is total corporate slop. Like, what the fuck? This represents everything wrong with this. Like, it's just crazy crossover promotions and battle passes and loot boxes and shit. Ask yourself which of those Valve did not invent. Because Valve invented the loot box in FPS gaming. They did that. Fortnite actually doesn't even have gambling. It's just you buy it. You buy shit outright, which is more ethical, I think.
Yes, I agree. You just buy it.
You can ask yourself, like, oh, but what about the Battle Pass? Well, Dota 2 invented the Battle Pass. Fact check, fucking true. True American patriot.
Yep, Dota 2, Valve made the Battle Pass. Yes,
okay,
that is fact.
What about it's stupid that I'm playing as Nicki Minaj in Call of Duty, and it's stupid that I'm playing as fucking Juice WRLD in Fortnite. It's like, oh, well, I seem to remember that CSGO had music kits where you could listen to fucking Denzel Curry. The problem is not that Valve wasn't good. They were too good to do this. They did it, but they had terrible taste and it sucked. So Fortnite and Epic Games was like, well, we'll just do everything they just learned, makes a shit ton of money, but we'll like put actual effort into like getting A-list celebrities. And that's why that worked. And it's going to sound like I got hired by the fucking, what is his name? Tim Sweeney or something, but that's just true. Okay. That much is true. All of that stuff was like Valve put it forward and they just weren't as good at that. They were better at like hiring experimental psychologists and economists, I guess. But you can't be like Valve is just, they're so virtued they didn't do this stupid slop shit because they invented all that. They just weren't that good at it.
Yep.
And I'm not
Well,
even like, I think those are bad practices.
Yeah.
I think those are bad practices. Like, don't get me wrong, I think that sucks. But you can't, you know, your gods are
in
not
a way,
real.
it's
That's the message, right? Like, this is not. It's not what you think it is. I want more people to realize that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in a way, it's a simple story because it's just all these game companies start out small, and then Valve, you can't even really call them a game company. I mean, they stopped being a game company. I don't know how long ago we want to say, 15 years ago or something. Game distributor and various ventures, whatever.
They're a game development. Gabe development is what they do. They develop Gabe Newell. They're going to turn into a cyborg.
It's always important to remember that the TF2 branch of Valve, whatever is there in any capacity in the last decade, is such a small. It's not even a branch of the tree. It's like a twig. I don't know how many employees there are at Valve, but obviously maybe you could find that out too. But it's just clear by the amount of things they're involved in that this is clearly such a small thing. So we just have to remember too that I think there's a danger in kind of giving them too much credit of having a deliberate strategy for TF2. Not to say it's completely undeliberate, but I think you can see the effects of what has happened to this game as just like a result of a general philosophy, right? Where it might be very unconscious to them how it's actually been handled. But of course, then that unconscious expression is just like a result of the general attitudes of how the company tends to work, right? It's like when there isn't focus, okay, it's just going to go on autopilot. And we have experienced the Valve flavored autopilot. And it's like, maybe if Valve was still strictly a game studio, at least the autopilot would be a little more humane for the gamer,
Yeah. I like that.
But we're so far from that. Yeah, we're so far from that. So
yeah.
Yeah, but everyone knows that I don't know, man, it's ridiculous. Everything is ridiculous.
Well, this is ridiculous. Yeah.
This game is built on silhouette-based class identification. Anybody who tells you that doesn't matter, they don't like Team Fortress 2 that much. That's the bottom line.
And I just got word that Phonyland has been accepted.
Excellent. I'm going to well, I actually just got a Zell from Robin, and I'm gonna go to dinner with Dane later. So that's gonna be
having dinner with Dane later.
Yeah.
I really do love that conspiracy theory because I just think that's true. Like they may have not given like lump sum payouts, but they absolutely wine and dine YouTubers to get to
you know what? By the way, we should take a clarification here really quickly. Zesty, I don't think either you or me believe Jill actually was responsible for Meet Your Match, right?
No, of course not. They were just being told what to do.
There was a time where I did. I think I even alluded to it in a video, but it doesn't make sense, right? They hadn't been there for that long, so it seems like they were made to take the fall, right? And that's really fucked up, right? Because
I'll give you one answer. Yes.
Yeah, but there's something really dark about this, which is like, you look at decisions like this and you have to ask yourself who is really responsible, because it's not really necessarily every person who works at Valve. It was like a couple people at Valve that made these decisions. So it's hard to hate or like try to, diminish and shit all over everybody or the whole company, because you're sure there's probably people who go to work and they just do their thing and they just go home to their family. They're working their ass off.
That's literally
they're
what
programmer
it is.
or whatever, right? And they don't read fucking forum posts, and they might not even like the company they work for. It's just really, it pays well, right? Like there's so many ways you could look at it. So I just try to tell everyone, remember to be happy, be peaceful, peace, love, and prosperity. Have fun, make stuff.
Please be peaceful.
If you want to be creative with TF2, just be creative with TF2 in the way that like makes sense to you. And I'm going to tell you that the workshop is probably not the right place for that. That's the place for like sleazy like gaming
black
system,
pill,
from what it sounds like. And I'm not involved in it. I'm not going to pretend I have some like crazy insight into what the workshop is really like. But I can only tell you when people DM me like that and they're like, "Hey, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. This place is fucked up." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So it is what it seems like. That's the only conclusion I can draw. And by the way, if you're a workshopper and you're like you think I'm like getting something wrong, or you think that you want to share something, like email me or something. I'll hear you out. I don't know a lot about that. Scene,
well, so. Richter, don't forget, I have mappers that want to come on and talk with us as guests.
Interesting.
And they want to talk about the dynamics of the workshop and how things actually work behind the scenes and like what their motivations are and whatnot. So that is going to be for a future episode.
Yeah. And that's maybe okay. And by the way, sorry that this is what I'm roping this all together with, but I have to take the opportunity to say, when people are like, oh well, why is Gold Rush not just like a server mod that you could make it a server mod? And it's like, well, because Team Fortress 2, the original Team Fortress 2 spirit is more than like a fucking and no shade to anybody or whatever, that's not how I mean this, but like it's more than a plugin that reverts the fucking Sandman ball. Okay, there's more going on there. This game is more beautiful than you just revert the Sandman ball and everything is fixed, right? I feel like even the people who play like revert servers and shit, they probably know that's true, right? So it upsets me to hear people say that because it means they don't see the value in like independence. And it's not that it's necessarily that is independent, but it's more independent than like, let's just build the mechanical experience we want inside this like Gordian knot of a game that like doesn't represent anything we care about or like anymore. Like why would that be like what you're fighting for these types of things to be? I never understood that. But anyway, sorry. Yeah, and I mean, as Martin Luther King Jr. said, the arc of history is long, but it bends toward casual TF2, and you subscribing to him right now.
Yes, go subscribe to Casual immediately.
Thanks,
or Richter.
Video soon, making a video, working on it.
Yes, I don't know, man. I think that's a hell of a way to come back in. That's good shit. That was a lot of fun things said.
Are we wrapping it up? Don't you usually do some kind of outro? You're like,
I'm trying to think of anything else we could add to this, but I don't know.
I'll do it. I will just say, peace, love, and happiness, and joy, prosperity, love is the end.
Peace, love, unity, respect.
Yes. And I mean that. Give it to your fellow man, even if they're a human shield. It's okay. You can love human shields, okay? And that's actually kind of a fucked up analogy. Maybe don't use that analogy. But
we know what you mean. We get the sentiment. Yeah. We know what you mean.
Anything you want to add, Casual, before we run off?
Yeah, if you haven't played a full match of Dust Bowl within the last month, this is your call to do it. And you have to go find out what you've been missing, and blessings be upon you.
Yeah.
You just only play Dust Bowl for like a day. In fact, I might go do that.
TF2 classes are not intersectionalities, so I leave you with that. Don't be mad that the spy sometimes is like not able to win every encounter. He's supposed to be situational. When you
targeted spy main.
When you click on the spy, no, I don't hate spy mains. I love spy mains. When you click on the spy, it's the I think I'm smarter than everybody in the class, every single person in the game button. Right, and you'll tell me, you'll back me up on this, Casual, because we talked about this.
I'll back you up on that. When have we talked about that?
No. This thing I'm about to say, which is like if you go back to the old like you showed me like old subtle art videos and shit, right?
Yes.
And that guy, he says in the first round of this Badwater game on offense, I went scout because I thought it would help the team more. And that is the essence of this game: is Team Fortress 2, playing with friends, joy. It's not freaking out and raging and. I don't know, doxing workshop creators or whatever the fuck. Don't do that. That's bad. that's what I leave you with. Okay.
Hey man, well I'm gonna call that a wrap right there. So, thank you to everyone for watching. We're back in action. We're back in black. Don't worry. Episodes will now continue on a more regular basis from here on forward. Multiple interesting guests lined up in the very near future. In fact, I think the next episode is just going to be me and another guest by the name of Mastercoms because they would like to come on. They like the idea of talking with you guys too, but 4 voices in a room. Got to go over it. I'll go over it with them one more time to make sure what they want. So look forward to that. And these two fine gentlemen's links, Casual and Richter, their links to their channels are in the description below. As always, please go give them some love because these are posted on my channel.
To manifest something really quickly, so that it's manifested in at least 2 episodes now. Star episode is all we want. Somebody get this to Star. I don't care how it happened.
Star, we would love to have you on, man. We would love to have you on.
Not only do we want you, you're the only story we want, in truth, me and Casual. So,
dude, let's talk about Tribes Ascend.
It would be so fun to pick your brain for a couple of hours.
I just want to hear a story. I just want to hear him tell a story because I feel like he hasn't given. It would
be very cool.
It would be awesome.
Maybe he has on stream and I just haven't seen it, but
I'm sure he's given bits and pieces here and there on his streams, I think, but not like one cohesive tale that I think would be really fun to listen to.
Yeah. Love indeed. All right, I'm signing off there. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.